I always remember the one thing he always told me. He said, son, the harder you work, the luckier you'll get.
I spent some time with Clay Cook. He was in and left the industry completely unnoticed. And watching everything that guy had be sold on a fire sale. You sell your soul to this industry, and what you do, people don't notice.
The masses don't, but then think about the people that do. Like the Roadster shop today, there's a lot of what we've done as a result of his influence.
He literally walked up and said, dude, that's a badass truck. When you came up and said that to me and walked away afterwards, I looked at the guy next to me and said, man, that's pretty awesome. I put you guys on a pedestal with everybody else. My goal was to get to be able to sit with you guys, you know?
You wanted to sit, we're sitting tonight.
Yeah.
Fucking cheers.
No, I appreciate that, man.
Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. This week, we have in studio a whole mess of guys. Zrodz, Fiber Forged, Zach, Rod, and Ed. Even though now you look more like an Adam.
It's gonna stick.
In person, this one's going to be awesome. We've all got a lot of history and friendship, and kind of interested to hear everybody's background. And yeah, if I can get after it. You guys ready?
I'm ready to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know this is a podcast.
I know.
You don't have to say
It's
things.
been a long day, right? We're getting
Yeah.
I got to get halfway through this, and then we'll be ready to rock.
Speaking of what we're getting through, we had a great episode a couple weeks back with Josh and the guys from American Metal Customs.
Yeah.
We raved about their whiskey, American Metal whiskey. Said, man, you guys are gonna have to send us some. And lo and behold, what'd they do? Send us fucking cases, multiple cases. So we liked it so much we weren't bullshitting. We're in it again because it's really that damn good.
It is.
You guys like it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like drinking it sober is really good too.
Starting out, yeah.
We've been
verification.
We've been reluctant to even revisit stuff we opened last season, just for the sake of not drinking it again. But
This is one of the first in 3 years that we've double dipped.
yeah, we did it within a month.
Yeah.
This is that good. It's good stuff, man.
This we might have some of this in Columbus, maybe have some.
Break out a bottle, pass it around.
Show your ID.
Several bottles.
Bring your beads.
Show us your ID or something else. It's just whatever you.
Yeah,
We'll get you whatever you think. We'll get you a bottle of booze.
Yep. All right, who wants to go first? We got to go through origin stories, and I know it's going to be long and convoluted and stuff like that. So let's.
I think his is going to be longer.
It goes back further, right?
I'm old.
Your starting point was a little further back.
Yeah, older than dirt.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, however you want to get into it.
Let's go. I mean,
Go ahead, Ed.
talk about your history.
No, you got to go.
All right, so let's start with Zach.
He's the captain. Like
Then we'll talk about where he came in to Zach's
there you
life.
go.
Then we'll hop back. See,
I like that.
Huh.
I like where you're going with that.
Yeah.
10-4. Well, I think like most of us got into it young age. Was a kid, 14, 15 years old, trying to find my place in the world, just with everybody. And what actually happened, my dad went with there's 4 of us boys in the family, and went with one of my oldest brothers when they were in Ball State at Muncie, and he found an old 69 Camaro. And they brought it home, Daytona yellow SS car. And he thought it was going to be a daily driver car, right? Well, first time it snows, it's not happening. So he parked the car, then realized he goes back to college, don't have wheels no more, don't want the Camaro no more. Well, at that point, I fell in love with the car. And so I sold all the normal bullshit, four-wheelers and everything, and went out and bought the Camaro from him. And at that point, in our local town, there was a body shop. And kind of all the old timers, and he always had old hot rods around and had a really good metal guy that worked for him at the time. And so I was detailing cars on the side. That's how I was making money when I was a kid. And one of the cars that he had came in the shop, he had asked who detailed it and buffed it and everything. And they told him. So he swung by my house because he knew my parents and everything. And long story short, asked if I'd like a summertime job. And so when we did, I went in there, and when I went in the shop, it was really cool. He was a Hudson guy, so he had all the old school Hudson Hornets and a Wasp.
You don't run into a lot of Hudson guys.
No, for sure. And had a nice 47, and then he was a retractable hardtop guy too, which it was.
I know that crowd really well.
And that was like the first car I ever worked on, and the last time I ever wanted to work on one of those. And
they want to pay you in model trains.
I was just going to say
that.
You know what I'm saying? Was he a model train guy?
Yes, legit in his basement, model train, all set up. Yes, no kidding. I think we'll go
How
together,
young of a
man.
boy were you when you went in the basement?
And show me on the dial where he touched you.
Young enough and old enough to know danger, danger. So,
You're spot on. I built a 59 Ford way back in the day.
The retractable hardtop?
Not a retractable hardtop, but a lot of parts, trim parts and stuff like that. So I'd had to, that was my first like meeting with the retractable hardtop guys, and they have their own group and club, which you were able to get a lot of that vintage Ford stuff from. All model train guys.
oh yeah.
And I know, well, none of them are listening, but that's a different. You hit the nail on the head. It's a
Did
different
they
group.
put this out at all on CB? Like, is this?
Oh, if this was on ham radio, we'd be fucked.
None of those fuckers should be listened to.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, I want to hop back real quick.
Yeah, this is the quickest derail we've had, I think.
Yeah, this is the way it's going to be. It's going off the rails. Luckily, we got more of that whiskey. So the Camaro. All right.
Yeah.
Your brother's car. Were you already interested in cars at that point and wanted to do something cool? So you knew the car was cool. It wasn't that car that did it.
Correct. It was kind of like, I went through school, went through the whole deal where teachers, it was at that time, that's when all the, ADD stuff was starting and everything. And it wasn't that, I wasn't good at school. It's just, my focus wasn't there. It was, something else. So, and honestly, at that age, I had a really hard time at that time in life. It was, I lost a lot of really good friends of mine and a girlfriend in a car accident. And it was kind of nuts. The car accident happened. I was a pallbearer for them and for her. And then my grandpa was kind of my staple in my life, as I was literally at her funeral, died.
Oh,
and
shit.
So kind of fell in this kind of dark place at a young age, trying to look for some guidance and stuff. And I was always good with my hands and fixing stuff. So it was one of those deals as I started finding self-worth as I started working and repairing stuff. And then it was a thing where you just rewarded with the word like, hey, that's badass. Hey, that's a really good job, And then back then, I was going to get in car craft at the time, right? How to lay flames, how to do a paint job. I mean, when magazines were good. And
or just existed.
Or existed.
The every 3 month of how to lay a paint job.
Yeah.
When we all were we all searched. We were talking about the other day, it was a thing at one point to try and be on the cover of Hot Rod, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was the dream of it. And then now, it's a blip. It's that fast and it's gone.
100%.
So it's so that time, went by. I kind of discovered that car was there. I knew I wanted it. So I jumped on it as soon as he was out, and worked on that car. It was an awesome car. It was stolen from the original owner and returned like 26 years later. Her divorced husband stole it from her. And so got the car.
At that point in time, what's your vision for the car? What's it going to be?
It was just going to be the car I drove as freedom.
Okay.
That's what it was freedom. It was escape out from the house.
So just make it run and drive. It wasn't about like
nope.
paint or motor or stance or anything like that. Let's just get this thing running and driving.
Exactly. And it was a run and driving car. Wondered why it steered really weird until you looked down the rag joint and you found that it was 1/4-inch bolts and they were sloppier than hell. And so just kind of went through all that and then just started really enjoying it. And then didn't have my driver's license yet. Got hired to start detailing and cleaning cars at this body shop. And so summer comes around and didn't have a drive wheels there, but small town again. So my parents, my dad, whatever, he's like, just drive the damn car there. So I just drove the car every work the day at 15 years old and learned how to work on just body and paint. But what was really neat at that time, there was a guy who moved up from Corpus Christi, Texas, who was a metal guy. And this guy he had English wheels, power hammers, all that stuff. And he was working there as a body guy, but he was really into aircrafts at the time. So he was doing aircraft restoration. So I really got into that next. So then I was going home with him in the evenings and working on his building at home. And he's a DeSoto guy too, which is odd. But then they had
you run in some weird crowds, man.
But he had a 41 Willys coupe.
Okay.
Then I walked in there on a jig with a 426 blowing Hemi and was building a tube chassis for it. And at that point, I was just in complete awe. And so then I started going out in the evenings at his place. I started working on the car with him, and then he got a chop top job. And so we were 31. That was a 31 Chevy sedan. It was the first top I ever chopped. And then he taught me how to TIG weld, and then he made me learn how to gas aluminum weld first. And never used any of those. Never used that ever again. But everything was TIG welded afterwards. But so started working with him, kind of learning that side of the craft at the same time. I was in high school. My family was kind of more on the sports side, so went through all that. Went through high school. I sold my Camaro, and then I became a Pontiac guy. So I went through. I was really into GTOs. So I just started.
Man, we are going to have to find something to redeem you and this crowd, because it is not starting out the best.
So I went after GTOs, and then I started collecting cars in that. And, I was 96. I was a freshman in high school, so you could still find stuff pretty reasonable then, sure. Right? So I started getting really good at locating cars. I'd buy one, sell one, and then started learning out, man, I could make money doing this. And all I was doing was got really good at cleaning and detailing rust. So I wasn't restoring them. I was pulling them out from wherever I found them.
Polishing a turd.
Yeah, detail the hell out of them. If it was missing a part, I'd go to swap meet, I'd find it, put it on it, then I'd mark it and sell it. And at those ages, especially, my junior year, senior year, I hit some big licks a couple times there where before I went to college, I found a 69, 427, 435 horse Stingray, right?
Damn.
Paid $4,500 for this car. Turned around, put the missing pieces on it before I went to go to college, so it was like 19 grand. So built up a pretty decent account, and then I actually went to college to play baseball. So when I was there, it was a thing of, listen again to my guidance counselors when I was going to high school, saying, hey, it's I went through the Core 40 program, did all that, went down and talked to the counselor like we all do, and said, well, I want to work on cars. And listen to her tell me, well, I think your parents are going to be pretty disappointed. You go to work on cars, Yep. So talked me into the whole college route of having to go to school and to go be a school teacher of all things.
Come out with a shit ton of debt.
Right.
And make a little bit of money.
Right.
School teacher.
Yeah. So then your parents would be happy.
And then they'll be happy. So I did that. Was still coming home in the during Christmas and the evenings, still working for the shop. And I had multiple jobs at that time. I was working at the Napa machine shop and then working at the body shop. So I was learning a little bit of machining stuff and a little bit of engine stuff at the same time. Like I said, I really got into Pontiac, so I started collecting and finding some pretty rare Pontiac cars at the time. I had a couple Ram Air 4s, and then I had some really cool engines, and kind of focused on that. And then it was a deal. I got redshirted in baseball, and then it was like, well, this kind of sucks, and decided.
For the people who don't understand sports, what is redshirted?
So
freshman year.
Yeah, freshman year, you can get a red shirt, and then what that does, that gives you an extra year of
start over
eligibility, basically. So you can do an extra year. And so it was one of those.
You had to wear a red shirt for the whole year.
You get hazed the whole time at the red shirt. So then at that point, I decided, you know what, I want to do this as a living. I want to go work on cars. Still was going to go through the education part. So that time I decided to go to Wyoming Tech. So I went to Laramie, went through Wyoming, which was funny because it's never met them, never ran into them, but like Levi Green, Jesse Combs, all of them, they were in my class. But just
those were the glory days.
2002 was when we graduated. And but never ran into them, obviously, or put that together now. Loved it out there. I really did, man. Just focused on school. That was great. Really pushed to try and do the best I could out there. And at that time, they had a deal where Boyd was, he was looking for guys, looking for employees at that time too. So it was if you graduated with perfect attendance and with, basically a perfect in the class, you got to get flown out to Boyd's, and then you go through there and basically get interviewed for a job. So I went out there after I graduated in 2022, and then went there, met Boyd through the shop, and honestly scared the living shit out of me, the whole place.
It's a little overwhelming. That was right in his heyday, right?
It was in his heyday.
Where was that? Where was the shop at? Remember, Phil? Do you remember?
Labra?
Maybe.
Yeah, it was
Big, beautiful showroom.
Yep.
Super intimidating shop.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is something I keep in mind now, which I'm sure I know you guys do when you get a young guy walk in through here and you're trying to talk to him anymore and trying to tell him, say, listen, just breathe and take this in for a minute. Don't psych yourself out.
Right.
You know, but that's exactly what happened to me. So I psyched myself out. California scared me. I mean, literally, my shop guys.
It's still kind of scary though. California.
Oh, yeah.
There's some weird shit going on.
Weird shit. And then met Charlie for the first time, which was cool. He was down at the body shop, and that's where I was going to be going at the time. So that was the first time I met Charlie. And I mean, that guy, he was an animal back then. I mean, it was obviously for quite some years, but.
You sit down with Boyd then? How does that interview process work?
So basically he bring me in there. It was fast. I mean, it was, hey, so you graduate. I mean, and by then I'm sure he's ran how many kids through there, right?
This is like speed dating.
Exactly.
They're just bringing them through.
Yep. Pump them through. It was a thing where, you know, so what's your interest? What do you want to do? What do you want to work on? What part of the shop? And I said, well, I can kind of do a little bit of everything. But paint and body was like the thing I knew I could do the easiest. So being scared, I was like, well, I want to go to paint and body. So then when I went down there and paint and body and then seen what was going on there and then talked to Charlie for the first time and just, which that was intimidating too. So ultimately I just decided that there's no way I was going, you know? And, so came back home and started, kind of looking around, and then I got a phone call one day, and the phone call I got was, Mike Spitzer of Spitzer Enterprises. And so he called, somebody had told him about me. So I went down to Indianapolis at the time. And if any of you guys don't know him or not, but Mike's, he was a chassis race car builder, right?
Yeah. I don't know him personally, but I know of him and what he's done. Yeah. And
he started getting kind of in the hot rod world at that time. So that was when he hired me. And, so I went down there, and then I started on the junior dragster side. Cause at that time he got like a JEX contract, start building all these junior, and that's kind of a really funny story. These junior dragster chassis. So he sets me up, you know, and it was one of the first things, junior dragster chassis I'm welding together. And see, he developed this like slip, basically swing arm, right? That what made was kind of their patent for their dragsters. And it was all these different stepped tubes. And then what they had is basically like a Delrin bushing on where the mount point was, so the thing could kind of pivot in and out. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like suspension, but it wasn't a suspension because you couldn't run one. So, you know, nobody really explained this to me. So they put me on this basically rotisserie, and I had to, you know, TIG weld this whole thing together. And it was funny. So he's bringing this family through who's looking at buying a chassis. This thing's on the jig. And man, I'm welding like crazy, you know, and I'm just welding this thing up. Well, shit, I weld up all of it.
All the slip fits?
All the slip fits. So he comes out into the shop.
Now it's a rigid.
Right? And he's talking about the slip fit, and there's this chassis there. And he walks up to the family and the kid, and he goes to grab it. He says, yeah, it's got a slip fit and the swing arm. And he walks right to grab it. And, you know, it don't move. He's like, oh, no, that's one of these over here. And he walks over.
Is that, come see me?
Yeah. As soon as they're gone, name came on the intercom. So that was kind of the repetitiveness of chassis welding every day, you know, just on the dragster chassis.
Didn't they do that Roadrunner, that crazy wild Roadrunner back in the day?
Roadrunner.
Was it the Road Rattler?
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And see, I started with them. Oh, after that, we went to him, Paul Romine, and then a guy, Tom Schlamaki, which was, they call him Chicken Tom. At that time, Tom owned like every Tyson chicken in the United States. And he ran an offshore boat racing called Hyperactive. And it's actually on one of those worst accidents you ever see. The whole boat submarines and explodes underwater.
Shit.
And so we went out there, is when he was starting the boat tail roadster. So he got together with Tom Taylor, and they designed this boat tail roadster. So we cut the bucks, you know, packed it full foam, sculpted it, and then did all the mold work and all the composite work. And so there begins my composite side of everything, all the way back then. And then we started obviously on the race car side, and we were doing front engine dragsters at the time, and then at the same time doing the hot rods. And then we did a 33 Speedstar for Paul Romine at the time, which had a Viper driveline in it. So kind of cut my teeth there for about 2 years. And then it was like, man, I wasn't into this, especially the race car side, the repetitiveness every day on a jig. I just didn't want to do it anymore. Met a old drag race family that was more local, which is where Ed and I come into, but which was the Haradas, and was Kenny and Dave Harada, old drag racing family. Met Dave and kind of started talking. He was like, man, I was 45 minutes from them, and they ran an 8-fuel dragster at the time. So, and they actually had a bad explosion in Ohio, and that's how I met them. They were back half in the car because we run nitro. It was a nitro injected car. So I went to go work there and started with the race car side, and then obviously they were always in the hot rods, so we started doing hot rod stuff too. I was pretty young at the time. I think when I started there, I was 23 years old, 22, 23. And then I started on the race car, and I started traveling with the race car. So then we got picked up by Evan Knoll at the time, so Torco Fuels, when that whole thing was running. So we started working with him and got sponsors. So then, man, we were running 16 national events plus all the divisionals. I mean, it was every year, coast to coast. And we were driving the semi. I was racing the car. I liked it. Going back to the shop, building hot rods. Had a discrepancy with basically the body shop manager who was running there. And it was a pretty good sized body shop. I mean, it was, I think at that time, it was a 21 man. Every guy, had their own stall, their own frame rack. I think we had 6 or 7 painters there at the time. And then, so we started growing the hot rod side of it. And because that's what I was working on. And I did a Willys there and then a couple other cars for guys. And then we started picking up more work. And I was managing that side at that time. So fast forward, I'm about 24 years old at the time. And then that's where I met Ed at first. I think you were 21. You came out of Wyoming. 20. He came out of Wyoming Tech, applied there. And then I hired him there to work with me all the way back then. So we worked on all that stuff. And then he ended up ultimately becoming a collision painter because they just never wanted to pay the custom guy or anything in the shop, right? Which kind of sucked because, you guys know, book rate and you can actually make some money, So I was kind of dabbling in both of that. Got into it. The body shop manager basically just he was one of those tyrant guys and caught him sabotaging some work at night and called him out on it. And then, long story short, next thing you know, I'm the body shop manager at like 24, 25 years old and trying to talk to and convince guys who are 50 years old what they need to do or what's on the estimate.
That's a different era too.
Buddy, yes, that's what we were just talking about. It's
You can tell me what?
Yeah,
How long?
Exactly. It got to a point where at one point, I'm not kidding you, everybody's in a circle, and I'm literally asking anybody at that point to step outside, because I was like, I'm done with this. I'm either going to take my beating, I'm going to give my beating. Let's do it right now. But I'm done with this. And so that honestly was kind of a turning point. And then it was a deal where I got kind of the attitude, I'm going to work everybody on the table scenario. You don't want to do it, I'll do it. And so that was probably, 9-10 years was there doing that. And then it just got to a point where I was told what I was going to do. And it was, hey, you're going to manage this body shop. You're not doing custom cars. We're not building custom cars no more. This is what you're going to do. And I couldn't imagine not doing that. I loved custom cars. So I put my notice in, gave them like a 6-month notice because I was just that involved in the place with everything I did. It's just to try and say, hey, this is what I'm going to do. At that time, hoping that they would still go back to the hot rod side. So all the way down to the last day I was going to leave, I don't think they really thought I was going to leave. They were kind of...
You were trying to call their bluff a little bit.
Correct. And they were calling my bluff too.
Right.
And then until we got down...
nobody was bluffing.
Nobody was bluffing. So I got down to the last week and I left, and it was like a bad divorce. It was. Because, you just get so involved. And the old-time Japanese family, buddy, they're old time, and
oh, yeah, fucking samurai sword your ass.
I was looking around corners for every once in a while.
From
the high 80 truck stop.
my son got me that for my birthday last year. Yeah,
that's awesome. I was gonna bring mine. Mine got me that hot dog sausage knife for Christmas this year.
Yeah. It's a katana, not a samurai.
Yeah, you go. Well, correct. Yeah, it's so that was kind of left there. Kind of went through a rough start because honestly, I was looking for a job at the time. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, and so I got a job at our power company, which is NIPSCO, a big power company by us, as a maintenance guy. And that's because actually one of the customers' cars that I worked on at the time.
You stayed there.
Yes.
You said, fuck you. I got a job.
Well, I was 2.5 miles from work.
Okay.
So it was cake.
Yeah.
And their paycheck didn't bounce.
He was
he still lives there, but now he drives 45 miles.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
but
in hindsight, I should have rethought that.
Yeah. But So anyways, we kind of, you know what, the cool part was though, I met a lot of people. Like I spent a couple weeks every year at Roland Leon's house, you know, so whenever, every year we went to the finals, you know, we parked the truck and trailer there, Roland would come pick us up, and I would stay at Roland's house, sleep on his couch. I mean, that guy was a riot. I mean, just the years to get to spend with him.
Not to mention all the nights in the basement of the retractable hardtop guys.
Right?
I mean,
He's trying to forget.
I was already broke in at that point, so, you know, it was easy to handle. And but it was, so because of that, you know, I got to meet a lot of people in the drag racing world, and traveled around a lot. I afterwards, you know, I did a lot of stuff. We worked on some stuff for the Lucas Oil family. I worked in Ashley Force's first funny car for her, and worked with Guido on the paint job and how to get all that stuff done to the carbon. And and then, like I said, I was going to go work for this power company and maintenance guy, which was kind of, it's that job everybody wants right there. It's good paying there. It's a 6-figure job when you walk through the door. And it was the morning I was supposed to start. And I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, and honestly, I'm crying like a baby, because it's like, I don't want to do this. But I know when I walk to the door, like everybody else is there, you're going to get sucked into the comfort and the money side of it. And so at that point, my wife, you know, she's with me. We just had my oldest, who's 15 in 4 days. And I just built a new house that we just moved in. So it was kind of a scary time, and she basically told me, she's like, hey, we can give up everything. I don't care. She goes, a house, everything. She goes, as long as I got you and Max. She goes, I don't care. She goes, go do it. And truthfully, that's all I needed at that time. You know, went through that world, like you said, different time, different guys, a world where, you know, you're never going to do this. It's a joke. You know, you're ever going to be a hot rod builder. I mean, it got to the point where even at the shop we were at, the guys disliked me so much, they would do things like, the secretaries had no clue. You know, they had loud intercom, and looking back now, it's comical, because all of a sudden she'd be like, Zach, line 1, there's a Boyd Coddington, line 1, and there wasn't. You know, the guys are prank calling in.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was kind of like, well, shit. You know, none of them believed I was already. You know, I went there, I interviewed, did all that stuff. So I walked out. I called a buddy of mine who I know who had a shop he was going to lease. It was empty. Worked out a deal to finish the inside, because my family is more from the construction side. So we took about a month, finished off the inside of it. Some of my customers are guys that I know knew me from the past, what I'm working on. So they gave me some of my first projects, and that's how it started. I mean, I walked in that shop, you know, unlocked the door every day by yourself, got done what you could get done, worked, and then just started growing it from there.
When you listen to this story, you wonder how old is he at this point, right? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I take back what I said at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be 50 by now.
It's an epic tale.
No.
Yeah.
40, 41?
42.
42.
Yeah, 42.
Yeah.
And
it's either that, or you're one of those resumes that I get every fucking day that are like 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months,
Right.
47 jobs. Damn, dude.
Nope, I had 3 jobs at that point. And so I had a couple guys come in and out, help, you know, same deal. And at that time, I was more known as a custom painter. So I did a lot of airbrushing and so on. And so I was doing a lot of bikes at the same time. And I got a lot of Harley Davidson dealerships that give me all the brand new tins. I'd custom paint them all, drop them all off in consignment.
Did you buy a booth or build a booth?
My first booth I built. Yeah, I did. I took where we're at, there's no regulations for anything, man. You put a fan in the window, truthfully. Yeah. But I built
it should be.
I did a
wild west.
I did a prep station, a clean workshop and I actually bought that used in Blue Island. So I drove up here, bought this used prep station. I took it to Blue Island and sanded it down, repainted it, and put it up. And that was my first job. And so I started doing that work, and then how I kind of got drafted up this way and doing a lot of work up this way is, at that time there was and it's still there, it's a competition fabrication, Dave Dahlheimer. He was a front end dragster guy, and I did a lot of his aluminum work, built a nose for him, and then I custom painted his dragster. Well, he was doing, I walk in his shop, and he's a chassis guy, 2 chassis guy, building a lot of different stuff. And actually when I walked in there, hell, it would have been that time, which would have been that 2008, maybe 10 or so, was when Pete, his Charger was actually in there first.
Oh, that's why that name sounds familiar.
Right. And
That's
Pete at the time, I remember him walking in, he wanted his car lower, right? Just wanted lower.
Yeah.
And Dave was like, it's not going to happen. Even though he could do it, it was a guy who wasn't going to do it. He's like, I already did this work. I'm not going back and doing it again. You can't do it. And then obviously I think at that time, he had spoke to you guys.
Yep.
And it was, you guys could get a chassis underneath it, and get the car. So I was working on that car. I was actually building the rockers, and we were bringing the exhaust through the rockers at the time.
Sure.
Is how we were doing that. And then that car left, and then went to your guys' shop at that point. And so I kind of got up in this area where I was doing a lot of paint and body. So guys would, from St. Charles, Geneva area there, ship a lot of cars out that way for me to do paint and body at the time. So kind of built that up fast. Started building a new shop. I outgrew the one I was at. Started building a new shop. Kind of bring Ed at this point in. It's 6 years had passed by. He's still at the other shop. I was leaving my existing shop, and my Snap-on guy, his name is Ed. And while I passed a Snap-on truck.
Not Adam.
Not Adam. He probably looked like an Ed, though.
That's a good Snap-on guy name.
Yeah, it is. Snap-on it.
For sure.
Right? So I passed him, like, oh, shit. So I grabbed my phone, and I was just going to call him and tell him. And I have everybody in there with, like, my first names and just, like, their last initial.
Okay.
So I'm scrolling through and didn't even think about it. Well, he's in there. I haven't talked to him forever. But so I'm driving. So I click Ed and call, and I hear a hello. And I'm like, Ed? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, this don't sound like Ed. The Snap-on guy, I look at it, and I'm like, Ed Robinson? And he goes, yeah. Well, at this point, the CUDA came out, the white CUDA I built. And that was, I think, shortly after we won the Triple Crown with that car. Was that the inaugural Triple Crown?
I think so.
That was the first.
What year is this?
First one.
07.
No. That would have
16?
been 16, yeah. That'd been
2016?
Yeah, because that's back when it's
That was at
You
Dollar.
guys won I think
Yeah.
you guys won with Inferno the next year. Because I was with you. I was with you guys for the finals for Street Machine of the Year when you
Maybe
guys
14.
Would it be?
won.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was 13 or 14.
Yeah, that whole era. That's a tough era to
Oh yeah.
remember. There's a
Yeah.
lot. That was like
There was
just blew by.
And it wasn't even
There's
10 years ago.
No, but you know what? We're looking back at that. Man, that you want to talk about eras as killer cars, though. I mean, like that everybody was truthfully building. I mean, it was crazy. Like I looked at the top 5 that year for Street Machine Nationals and all the cars that were in there.
Yeah.
I mean, Street Machine of the Year, and it was like, man, you had you guys, you had Ring Brothers, you had I think Gap was in there.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a
there was some
Corvette
bangers
in
back
there.
Kindig's Mustang was there that year. The white
Kindig
one.
was in there.
That was
was
just February 2017. Maybe it was 2016.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Yeah.
man.
It's 16.
Last time
That's what he said.
I know. I'll never question Adam again.
But we so yeah, that was then, that was after I met you, Josh, when I built the Charger,
Yeah.
and that was my first SEMA visit.
Yeah.
When
Oh, yeah.
we
were
were
outside.
outside for HRA, and that was when Jesse had the Valiant, and I think you guys had the Chevelle there, and is when that was.
We had the, maybe we had the Chevelle.
Yeah,
That'd be the
Chevelle.
white Chevelle then, right?
It was the white
The
Chevelle
white Chevelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the gray
at
one.
that time, and
Time goes
so it goes
by.
by. And I ended up there just, I mean, honestly, because I had met Troy earlier in Detroit. George come up, and I put that car together in a pretty, George, as he come up and he's like, I heard you built this car in 11 months. And he goes, and I was like, yeah, but I mean, it was more like 2 years and 11 months. Right. And well, can you build this in 11 months? Like, no, there's no way I could. But, and then Troy came up at Columbus, and we were just bullshitting, and he said, hey, he goes, I'm going to go get some drink. You want to come with? It's like, hell yeah, man. This is Troy. I'm going to go get some drink with him, So
That's a bunch of drinks.
that's a bunch of drinks and a lot of listening. And then that next morning, I got a text from John McLeod that said, hey, come stop by our booth. And when I went there, it was kind of neat. It was him, Rick.
Obviously.
Yeah, right.
Of course.
It was Steve Tracy was there, and and Troy, and then Mike and Jim were there. And we got there, and that's when they asked me to go to SEMA. So that was a pretty big time for us at the time.
That's got to pinch yourself when you walk away.
Right. And so the CUDA came out, and that was on the cover of Street Rodder at the time. And it was funny because the magazine actually got delivered to the shop that I used to work at, that basically
fucking perfect.
Right. And I don't know how it got delivered, and was
it addressed to you?
How did that
well,
feel?
it was actually
Boyd who?
in the bag. It was actually tied to the door handle that they opened up that morning. I had no idea how it got all the way there at 4:35 a.m. in the morning. So it got dropped off. But so I was still back at So it was sitting there, and it got passed around at the time. And
Did you autograph it, or did the mail carrier autograph
I
it?
don't know how it got there. It just showed up. So.
Had X and O's on it.
And I mean, it was.
Should have made it origami.
It was pretty redemptive at that time, just because it was at a point where, like, calling current customers that I was working cars on, they're saying like, hey, he can't do the work, bring the car to us scenario. And it was a pretty tough one. So it meant a lot when all that happened, and so we start talking. I'm like, hey man, I didn't mean to call you, but how's it been? He's like, pretty good. And he goes, and he just goes right to it. He's like, I just seen the magazine, the CUDA's on it, man. And I was like, oh, cool, man, thanks. He goes, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it pissed me off a little bit. That's exactly what he told me. And I laughed. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, you leave, everybody talks shit, everything you can't do. And he goes, is it you, or is it the place we're at scenario, right? And it was we call it the crab of buckets. He calls it the crab of buckets deal. Anybody does good, you try and pull them down to where everybody else is at, right? So we start bullshitting. We start talking about everything else. He's asking how things are going. I said, good. I said, man, why don't you just come out and just come see the shop one day, drive on out and stop by. So
we got some cool stuff going on.
I
I don't know if you've seen the magazine.
So, yeah. But so he came. So he come out to the shop, and we bullshitted for a few hours, and then actually the car had to go. The CUDA had to go on display somewhere at the time, and so it was time for its monthly cut and buff before the next show, as paint shrinking and drying and everything on it. So I said, hey, why don't you come out and help him buff this car? So he's like, hell yeah. So he comes out, sand and buffs the car, and we start talking about him coming to work for me, and
sounds like it's probably a little like calculator, maybe premeditated.
That's what they thought.
That's what, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah.
You might want to tell them no notice too, just be here tomorrow.
Get your toolbox.
No, we kept it quiet for quite a while.
Well, you helped me out for probably a month before, and we just kept it quiet. Come on the weekends, do whatever, just help me out, and I knew what he could obviously do at that time. And fabrication shop, like most, was the most struggling part of my shop, just to try and get anybody to come in and be able to fab anything. And paint and body, collision guys were also the best guys you could hire at the time. So I was kind of going through those guys. I knew what he could do, and because I'd worked with him, and 1, 2, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, me and him were doing projects at that place because we wanted to, custom semis, whatever it was. So I knew he knew what it would take and would work to get the job done. So after we talked, he basically said, man, I want to come do this. And I said, awesome. I said, so here's how it's going to go down when you put your 2 weeks notice in. So you need to listen to me. And because like I said, I was pretty deep into the place, and that's exactly how it went down to the T. And kept it quiet. Nobody really knew for probably a year he even worked for me.
Yeah.
And then once they found out that he worked for me, then shit hit the fan again.
I was number 2 asshole.
Yeah, because I'm always number 1. I will always be. And the thing is it's like we both say today, it's honestly, and Dave, he might be listening to this. It was we don't regret starting there, because it was hard nosed, slap you in the face, old timers. You worked with old timers. It made your skin thick. Everything, you recalled everything you could think of, and it was just
good for you.
Yeah, the next day the door opened, like, man, they came back. Try
to get a little harder.
Yeah, so
maybe we're a little stupid.
Imagine that in today's society, with
there's no way
with an HR department, everything. But what do you think? Don't you think that breeds like a better employee, somebody that's
And a better vocabulary.
well that
The way some of those old timers could string something together, you're like, you're gonna do what? Wait, how's that even possible?
We had to learn how to duck at times in the shop.
You guys need to lay off the old timers.
So, but I do, in a sense, I really do. I think we're just, I coached traveling baseball and all that stuff, and there's a lot of times where, you naturally go back to the way you were raised at times, and or coached.
I'm sure that goes over like a fucking fart in church.
And, my dad, good dude, went to work every day. He drank. He was an alcoholic. He drank. Went to a baseball game. It was go to a baseball game. And he was good if he had a 12-pack of Budweiser scenario, right?
Was your coaches smoking on the field at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
They weren't coaches if they weren't. So.
Our coaches, we were sharing chew in high school, when we were in baseball. But it was, I think it does. I think we're too soft now, way too soft. I have young guys. I had a speech yesterday, and I have younger guys that it's like, man, is this dude going to cry? Yeah. And it's like, I got to stop here. And I'm thinking I'm being hard. And I asked him later, I'm like, man, was that rough? He's like, no.
He's going to cry or quit.
Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
Or both.
We've definitely had to learn how to soften ourselves. You start to say shit that was said to you. And
don't fly. They never heard.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had a tough run with that early on in my career because I spoke to people the way that my father spoke to me when I fucked up.
Exactly.
It helped me. I think it put me on the right track. Sure did not work with them.
When you have to explain to them that what the fuck's the matter with you is a rhetorical question, I don't need you to actually answer what you're diagnosed with. Right. It's just a statement.
Yep. I don't really let up on my kids at all. I've been told by other parents, you're hard on your kids. And it's like, man, but why?
You ask them to step outside too?
It just does it right there in the
you want to see hard.
What I want to say is, yeah, you're right. See the difference between my kid and your kid.
Yeah.
And in just his manners, the way he acts. They all know him. The way they do in school. Everything, and there's just a difference of knowing that, hey man, my old man might kick my ass. And that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
We really did. Yeah. I knew if I messed up, we called it the knuckler. It was my old man. One knuckle, sneak up behind you when you weren't looking, and it was right like that, man. That fucker'd stink for 5 minutes, And but then you realized, yeah, damn it, I left my shoes laying out there, or just whatever it was. Most of the time he never told you. You had to go figure it out.
You figure it out. Uh-huh.
So you did, but it did. I think most of us, looking back and especially in our industry we talk to that are where we're at, I think we all had a very similar upbringing, honestly. Yeah. I really see that way. And there's, I don't know if you guys noticed too, there's a different generation of builders coming through now. And I've kind of seen that a little bit too. And it's nothing wrong with that by no means. It's, when we were at SEMA, I said that my average shop age now, we're 17 guys right now. And we'll be at 20 in June, and my average shop age is 27 years old right now. But they're guys who have a passion and a work ethic to want to do this. A lot of them walk through the shop door and have never done this before, and especially in the composite side. But I sit down and give them the normal speech like we all do, and we have two main rules in our shop. And number one rule is communication. Number two is no drama. Those are the two main ones. Most everything else I can get past, but I can't get past those two. And so when they come through the door now, we sit down, talk to them, and I'll hire over the work ethic any day over the skill set.
Yep.
Just because if they have the work ethic and they're the right age, especially if they haven't come up anywhere, we can teach them everything. If they have that ethic, they want to put in the time. And it's like we told them, it's how good you want to get just depends on how much time you're going to put in. We're there 12 to 14 hours a day. We work 4 12s. That's our shop. And so we're 6 to 6 every day.
Yeah.
So honestly,
we're supposed to work 12.
We're supposed to work 12. Yeah. It's like anything. And we come in on Fridays, and Ed's there almost every day. And but
12 12s.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
Is that what you meant? Is that what you're seeing in the younger generation of builder coming up? Is it the work ethic thing? Is it the attitude thing? What is it you're seeing?
It's a attitude, and it's a different approach to building hot rods. So, excuse me, my different approach,
Style wise, or
no, I think to me it's more of there's a lot more technology based. Like a lot of the younger guys come in, they're a lot more computer savvy, design savvy than we are. I mean, all my fabricators right now.
You sound like fucking Bobby Alloway 15 years ago.
At least he's embracing it though. Bobby still won't let none of them computers in the shop.
So every fabricator I have right now can walk up to one of our computers, or they even have their own. They can do all their own basic drawing in CAD, which we use Fusion or we use SolidWorks, but all their own bracketry, everything we're doing for the chassis or mounting calves or engine mount, whatever it is. Once we know what route we're going, all those guys can walk up their own computers. They draw their own parts. They go over and plasma or laser out their own pieces. They go over to the CNC press break them all themselves, and go over and TIG weld them on the chassis. I don't have an engineer that works for me that can't do that. They're fabricators first that decided to go back to engineering school and can go out and TIG weld or build a headers or an exhaust, but also sit behind that computer and draw the parts and pieces, like working with you guys on that truck chassis.
Sure.
So that has been, even a couple of them can go and run and operate CNC machines because they've came out of areas that one came from a tool and die place, and has been, Jeremy, he's one of our best fabricators in the shop. And he was 40 something years old, walked in the shop and never worked on hot rods besides at home on them himself. But the caliber was there. The attention detail was there. And seeing that he did his own work and his own hot rods was like, man, this would be a good guy in the shop. And so he's one of those guys that can do that stuff. And then the other ones came from the trailer industry, because I'm not too far from, the trailer and RV capital of the world, Elkhart. So a lot of those guys came out of there, can already weld, TIG weld, whatever. So we just worked with them. My job at that point, I felt like, was to give them the tools and necessities to be able to do their job in a different way. And meaning, we just in the past recent years got to the point where we're blueprinting everything. So when we start a build, we go ahead, we scan the cars, scan everything, create the CAD if we need to, or just work from one of the STL files, and we build everything out from there. So we plan our exhaust, we plan our seats, no more flat floors ever again, plan everything out that we can. And then what that does is goes out, we hand that to the guys in the shop, the fabricators. The young guys can interpret and read that. Me trying to take them over and explain this to them and work with them for a half hour, an hour, if I can, without being interrupted or having to stop to do something, is way more efficient. So when I mean it's a different way, it's just different how I was brought up and how I was taught how to do metal work, how to, design and customize a part, from doing the, cardboard template and profile gauges to now running 3D printers 24/7, printing profiles, printing bucks, printing, blocks to, match contour lines for cars we're blocking, or
my
truck
fingers,
beds.
Thank you.
Or whatever.
No more pull one more rod out of the flex.
Back in the day.
Those were the shit.
Yeah, they were.
So ABS sanding blocks.
Yeah.
They were.
I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with that, man. I think it's a great evolution to the industry. It really is.
Absolutely.
You still long for that, like, artistic fabricator. Like, we've had a guy years ago. He doesn't work with us anymore. He was kind of like doing subcontract work here. Older guy. He's in his late 50s now, but metal shaping magician, right? A coach builder, and like that, he's so disconnected from all that technology, but that skill set still to this day is priceless. It's neither one can replace the other. Yep. But as a whole, like, that's such an efficient way that you're approaching car builds.
Yeah.
Do it.
The truck, the carbon truck that we built wouldn't have existed if it wasn't that way.
Yeah.
That whole truck was built in CAD.
Dude, you're getting way ahead of yourself.
So,
All right, we're gonna get there.
Yes, we'll get there.
All right.
How do you handle, quick question, when you get stuff like that, right? You're designing everything in CAD. You're going over prints with guys, and they're expecting that everything's pretty well figured out, but it can't always be. You know, sometimes you got to pivot. Sometimes there's something, a fuse box needs to move or something needs to move. Things need to happen on the fly.
Yep. Sometimes, quite frankly, this ain't like, sometimes you just got to waller a hole out. How does that work out? Is that a struggle where it's like, oh my God, I need to think through this now and just do this? Or is it like sit there, wait, hey man, are you going to like get me a new print? We need to rescan this. We've got to print this. We need to machine this. Or is it like, I'm going to cut this fucking thing out and I'm going to weld it in.
Right.
With a welder.
With a welder.
In my hands.
There is a lot of that. Like I told everybody, you got to be able to ad lib on the fly, you know, with a lot of stuff when you're doing it. And yeah, we run into a lot of that stuff. And it is to me, it's still a better, more efficient approach because there's so many things along the way that we found out before we even got to the fab side. Like the idea we're going to do this, and then to come back in CAD and then came back, hey, we got an interference here. You're not going to be able to do that. It's like, okay, well, at least it saved the time of the fabricator, you know, trying to hold that AC box up there and, you know, do temporary rod mounts and, you know, hold the damn thing up into place to try and see if the duct working is going to work.
Or trim an 1/8 inch off, fit it in, trim an 1/8 inch off.
The only thing that has sped that up, what I try and do is that the components most of the time, you know, that if the build don't last longer than the technology, is I try and get everything we have scanned in. So it don't matter what it is, if it's the fuse panel, if it's the new Motec box, ISIS, whatever we're going to run, I get all that stuff scanned in. And then I try and start all this stuff way ahead of time of starting the car. So I need to probably go longer, but my goal is always we try and start at least 3 months on the CAD stuff before the car is ever in the shop and on the jig. So that way we can start kind of playing around with placement of everything, as long as we can get the scans. So that's kind of what starts first. The nice part is when we run into those issues, they know first to go back and, hey, check with the engineer, see if he can move this over there, and they step on the next thing. He comes back and says, it won't fit there, but it'll fit here. You know, it's
all about focus and mindset. I mean, I don't think any of it's like intentional or it's a lack of skill set. It's when you get so tunnel vision and you're doing things the same way. It'd be like driving right-handed and left-handed or whatever. You just get so used to it, and then you don't even think about like. Well, I think is that a piece of 1/8 inch bent 4 ways equal on both sides? That's just 1 inch box tubing. Like, dude, you realize that exists.
It's a funny story. A guy here, he was building something, phenomenal fabricator, right? And he's working on a car that's very much like what you say. I mean, it was very engineered, the whole thing. And when we got to a point where he had to make a few things just kind of like on the fly real quick. I mean, he's totally capable, right? But he did kind of just that. He made some like really slick looking brackets, but he cut them out of like some tube. I think maybe it was 1x1, but like contoured it and everything and drilled it, put a little weld nut on the back. And he was like very, I guess, kind of like self-conscious about it and making sure that I was okay with it. I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, it's DA'd, it's TIG welded. It's a beautiful little part. It's just, we could have engineered it. Like you said, bent it but 4 times and cast it
like a piece of fucking tube. That thing exists. Right. There's a huge machine that did that and then spit it out.
I'm not advocating for either direction, but it's funny that sometimes it's the same result.
Well, this ain't to put anybody in their place. It's all about focus. It's about, you do the same thing in bodywork and paint. Sometimes on a block side of things, you're doing something, you're doing it, and you're like, holy fuck, I just spent all that time doing it that way. And I could have just done it this way, but it's tunnel vision
for sure.
No, it is
definitely.
Especially when it's those 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, yeah, that's like a lot of fun. I tell those guys all the time when I say, you know, it's a thing where you're working on this project. I'm not. My mind is at times, you know, you're on it, but you can't be on every job in the shop. So when I tell them that, listen, I said, you're working on this job.
Let's cap another bottle.
You feel and know what's going on with this car, and I mean, not to sound corny. I mean, when you're working on a car, you get into it and build it.
Kill it.
You
we got more over the shoulder there.
You start feeling a relationship with that project, right? Of course. I mean, everybody does. You build a relationship to it, and that's what happens with the guys in the shop. So I always tell them, I say, listen, if you're ever doing anything along the way, I mean, don't follow this to the T, right? If you see something ahead of time when you're building it, because you're in the project, you're the one that's into this. that's the communication part in the shop. It's a stop to say, hey, I don't think this is going to work this way, or I think we should do this because I just did this and this is what's next. And so I always want everybody to have that input in the shop. My goal is not to walk through and micromanage any of it. I mean, I told everybody you come in here, I want you to treat this place.
I don't know about that one.
I disagree with that.
That's a tough one.
Well, manage the guys or just the shop in general.
Shop in general.
So, I mean, which I think that's different though. So
the guys are in the shop.
Well, so I try and preach the individualism a lot, and then everybody has their own personality too. And you can kind of almost stage that to what project they're going to work on too, and know that this fabricator is going to do really good on this project because that fits his personality more.
This project's fucking crazy. This is going to be perfect.
That guy, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, I feel
the guy who's
that's
owned the hot
usually
rod
being
shop.
him.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting real close to where Rod comes in, but I want to jump back because we skipped past the part of where Adam spelled Ed.
Yes. Gets hired.
Comes in. So you get hired, but we gotta jump back briefly a little bit about. All right, you went to Wyotech and all that. Where did you get your interest and be like, you know what, fuck yeah, I want to be a body man?
My dad.
Okay.
So my dad, just always in the cars. He was a car guy.
Man, he sounds way better in my headphones than honestly. You're gonna talk for a bit because that's pleasing.
Thank you. So we were just into anything with a motor. Snowmobiles, dirt bikes, four-wheelers, just always into off-road stuff. He always jokes that he was always into, doing hot rods and stuff like that, and ended up at about 18 years old, arrested for drag racing on the street right down Blue Top. So it was one of those things where he decided, whenever he found out he was having a boy, that I'm gonna put them off road because they can't lose their license. So we all got into dirt bikes.
Good thinking.
Went up to Silver Lake probably 3-4 times a year. Four wheeling and everything else. And
I think you're on the similar path with your son. You're trying to get him off road.
Yeah, I guess
he just takes the off road things on road though.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it that way. I'm fucking doomed. I mean, I'm in trouble.
You're in big trouble.
How old your oldest?
He's just turning 13.
there you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So just it was one of those things. It was his decision. So at 16, I wanted a truck because I wanted something to put my four-wheeler in. And he found an old farm truck. It was a 85 C10, and he's like, "You're going to do everything to this. You're going to rebuild the engine. You're going to do everything." So it was 2-wheel drive at the time, and so we painted it, and it was a single stage red and everything else. And my dad's buddy was a shade tree body guy, and he taught me everything. And then we did all the stupid stuff.
Did you cut and buff it, or is it out of the gun?
I know we cut and buffed it, but it wasn't great. I mean, I would not admit to that.
After cutting and buffing single stage red. That's
It was and that's what's funny is it's like he was always encouraging all that stuff. It was one of those things where I was like, well, I'll just paint it like some, normal color. He's like, no, you're 16. You're going to paint it red. Like, that's the way you got to do it.
You got to know it's your truck.
Yeah. So, and then, I had a real stupid decision, decided that it was going to be 4-wheel drive. So he found a 78 chassis. We actually was really cool. I had a really cool shop teacher, and he decided that it was just like going to be a shop class thing, and so we pulled the 78 chassis in and rebuilt all the axles in the class. We put a lift kit on it. Me and my dad rebuilt the engine. We put the engine in actually in class, and then did everything in high school. It was wild to do that kind of a project.
How were you guys viewed in high school at that time in shop class?
Wonderful.
Y'all were cool?
Yeah, we were really cool. Yeah. Okay. No, we're car nerds. That's what we are.
Well, that's the problem that we're getting into now. Like, one, there is no trade schools. We talked about this. But then locally there is like an off-site trade school that they'll do some stuff, whatever, but they come pick you up in like the short prison bus. And nobody, like my son and all his friends, they want to learn something. They're like, we're not getting on that bus. No, those are those kids. Like,
we know where they take those kids.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you're fucking setting them up for failure.
It looks like a punishment.
It's so fucking stupid.
In our school, it was that way. So I didn't even know it fucking existed. I was a diehard gearhead. Yeah. And then I caught wind, like, I think my junior year or something, that one dude, like, I kept seeing him showing up in, like, Dickies, and he's getting on the little bus, right? And, like mid-game. And I started talking, like, where the fuck are you going? And they had some automotive program that nobody spoke a word about. Yeah. That they were, but you looked at him, it's like, dude, are you going to, like, an off-site detention?
It's so fucking stupid.
I think we were on the phase-out era.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we were.
They killed my shop class right after you, I think, junior high, Mr. Hart. Remember?
Yeah. We
caught 1 year of it or 1 semester of it, and then it was gone.
I love fucking sports, right? I'm a diehard sports guy. I am. I love college football. Always have been. And I think sports are very integral in a person's development. It's one of the things I ask as a hire of, like, did you play any team sports? You know,
what do you think is wrong with me? Do you think it had a negative effect?
You want me to diagnose?
I'd like to hear it.
Might take a while.
You played soccer. You played soccer and liked cats.
So what is our guess?
I'm a cat guy too.
But my point is, I think it's very.
You guys drop that around here like you think you're going to catch me with it, but like creative car guys, almost all of them fuck with cats.
Cats and first of all, I had a. That's the most wildest. Outlandish statement.
I promise it's not.
Name them.
Bob Thrash? That motherfucker's got a whole fucking fleet of cats.
Number 2?
Well, hey, by default, Ring Brothers have a cat.
That's right. Maybe it's Bob's. But it's fucking,
Number 2?
There's a lot of them, dude. Don't make me go through. You're going to put me on the spot like that.
You named one and it was Bob Thrash.
All right, Jeremy Katz.
That's his last name. He doesn't like cats.
Yeah, you just made that up.
Swear to God, dude, I've got pictures of him.
He's a cat dude?
Oh, yeah. Bengals.
I lived 3 blocks from my school, so I walked to school every day, and which worked good because I always had a hot rod at home. We had there was a kitten one day. We're coming out from football, and these kids are torturing this kitten. I couldn't stand it, so I stopped all of them and said, "Don't mess with this cat," you know. And that cat followed me home, and every day, I'm not kidding you, that cat would be in the same spot and follow me home every day after school. That cat.
Then you're like, fuck this motherfucker.
19 years I had that cat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, 19 years that cat stayed with me.
He knew you saved his fucking life.
My brother kicked him down the stairs one day. The next day, the best thing in the world. A cat shit on his pillow. Literally, they're smart, man.
Yeah, they are.
They shit on his pillow.
Same thing with him. He'd put him in a box and throw him down the stairs when we were kids, and it would shit on his pillow too.
It would.
Same thing. Like right beds made.
Yep, it shit on the pillow, man. Same thing. It was awesome.
I think that all of you failed to make your point. On the sports thing, I think it's important, and I get why the schools put so much emphasis in it, and it's entertainment and stuff like that. But just look at the amount of kids. If they would have put that effort into the trades in high school, think about the percentage of kids that would go through that program competing, right, in trades to actually make a living versus what a high school athlete, how many of them are going to make make a living being an athlete?
100%.
I'm not saying do away with sports, but you can't just throw it out. It's so fucking stupid. I'm not saying just automotive. There's so many things like that. You do not teach a kid how to work with their hands.
At our school shut down. And that's what's sad is hell, they even have money they're trying to give away money to schools to start the programs and they won't do it. But our whole hallway was shut down. We had small engines, large engines, drafting. We had screen printing. We had all that crap, and none of it exists anymore. And it's sad, especially in a small rural town. My town's 1,800 people. It's farmers. It's all farm based, and it's not there anymore.
You should be able to get a couple of hardtop retractable guys, enthusiasts, and some DeSoto guys come in and teach and volunteer.
That's right.
They'll really teach.
I think probably the basement and trains keep most of them out of the schools.
Getting restraining orders.
Make sure they like cats.
Yeah.
All right, so y'all
to the school.
You're cranking through a 4-wheel drive conversion, doing it all in school.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean, collar popped, cigarettes rolled up in the sleeves.
For sure. Yeah.
Badass, ruling the fucking school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
And actually, when you started Radas, you had the Back to the Future.
Dude.
the Toyota, right?
I still am mad about that.
Yeah.
I had
Hey, we're ruining all of the segments for the end.
Dude, I was trying to tuck him away and hoping you weren't going to pick up on it. And
Oh,
I was going to just
I pick up on all of the stuff.
gonna nap.
Shit. Back to the Future Toyota.
It's a good looking
That's
truck.
It's probably been more. It's referenced on this podcast more than any other vehicle. It gets
Really?
brought up like 100. I thought that was that opening scene.
Oh my God! Yeah, come on.
Holy
Like that, the
shit.
G-Force CUDA chicane, and that's probably about it.
Yeah.
It's a unanimously loved truck.
Man, that thing's so
absolutely.
great body
Yeah.
stuff.
Absolutely.
What about Michael J. Fox too? I mean, he's just a great actor. He's still kicking around.
Yeah.
Well,
Unfortunate.
yeah.
Somebody wouldn't know it.
Getting around, but yeah, great actor.
Great dude, you know.
He is, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you gotta love Back to.
Yeah, he's a great truck.
Where are you
Too.
going with that?
I wanted to see who was a bad person. Turned out I figured out who it was.
Cheers to Michael J.
That's like bait. You can't bring up Michael J. Fox without somebody doing some joke about it. All right, so you're kicking around,
Yeah.
doing the 4-wheel drive thing.
Yeah.
At that point, you know that this is what you're going to do for a living.
You know, the paint and body thing kind of was just like it's really strange because, you know, he mentioned him. I just was watching television one time and seeing Charlie, and you know, and kind of is one of those things you don't think about it at the time, but like you hear him talk and he's just like, you know, you got to have passion about this stuff. And, you know, just kind of at the time, I didn't even think it was possible to do that kind of stuff. You know, it's you're in Indiana. I mean,
Seems like movie star shit.
yeah, it's West Coast shit. I mean, it really is. You realize like you're like, that's Boyd, like that Indiana. We don't have, you know, hot rod builders.
You
And
gotta
then-
know somebody who knows somebody or be born in a different family. Not for me.
And then Rides came on. And when Rides came on, Troy, and you see, I still remember it,
Cornfield.
the whole shot of the Quadra, Quadradeuce. And, you know, him doing that. And that was the opening thing of that. And watching that, I realized like, you know, this is kind of what I want to do, you know, and I went to my dad to it, and, you know, and it's funny because, you know, we have the same name. I'm Edmund Dale Robinson the fourth. He's the third. He wanted to go to Wyotech and had me at 18 years old. Really didn't have really a whole lot of chance to go to Wyotech. So he went and worked, you know, became a mechanic for a while. Then ended up, you know, at Ford assembly plant and, you know, worked and raised 3 kids. And, you know, it was special because he was just like, well, go to Wyotech, you know, that's what I wanted to do. Go to Wyotech, you know, and it's cool to, you know, him to be able to give me a chance to do that. And then, you know, I got wrapped into the collision thing, and I think you guys have all joked about it. You know, collision where passion goes to die. I mean, I know you guys made your money off of it, but shit, man, it is work and it is thankless. You know, I mean, you do not have fun doing it. It's a paycheck, you know, and, you know, I had a wife and a kid, you know, you know, working there, and luckily he was there and you know, kind of showed me a little bit, like, you know, cause it wasn't a great shop. They didn't encourage anything. Let's just say that you really, they tested your passion. I watched a lot of guys walk through that door that were really talented people, more talented than me. Go in there and just be like, screw this. I'm going to go work for the mill, man. Like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
And I think that's more common than what we all think in a lot of shops. It just,
you know,
I mean, we really seen it then. I mean,
collision is crazy though, if you think back, because it's the only thing that I can remember that I was ever involved with that makes me pay attention to stuff in the world that you would never pay attention to.
Yeah.
Like what you look at weather things different. You're like, oh, fucking hell.
Right.
You know what that
Yeah.
means?
yeah. Or
3 days of rain and a storm. You're like, oh.
Or when you refer to snow as white money. I mean, there's other snow that's white money. But
the PDR should change things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It was just one of those places that like they did, restorations. They did some custom stuff. They did. We did 2 cars for Strange, 265s actually. One convertible, which I know you love, Lincoln. Strange axles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. One convertible,
I love
and then
to look at them. No, fucking touch it.
Yeah, it's awful. Everything about it.
Forrest Lucas's.
Yeah, we did some stuff. That was what I wanted to do, and every time they put me on it, I was like, oh great, I get to do this. And then it happens to every collision painter. You get really good. You're quick. You're efficient. And so right before he called, I was getting to the point where they'd give me the really nice cars, the tri-coats, the stuff that, everybody else struggled at that I was just good at. And, it just got to a point where I woke up and I joked with him all the time. I was like, man, I'd go to work. I'm only 2 miles away, but I'd be counting the telephone poles and just being like, I could just take one of those out, not go into work today.
You got to go all right. You got to go do the Lexus. It's got 12 alternates.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got
5-stage paint, some shit. Yeah,
it's not gonna match.
Yeah, no
matter what.
Oh, it's just.
It was a little more. I know it's white, but it's a little more white.
It's like
white,
milkier.
A little bit more cream. I've sprayed all the alternates. Fuck you.
Yeah.
It's the shape of the bumper. It's never going to match.
For sure. What a difficult clientele too to deal with. I mean, nobody is satisfied in that.
And you're in a bad situation. You understand.
They're pissed off coming in because their mode of transportation is gone.
My windshield wipers are squeaking now. It was a rear bumper job. Like, fuck off. And I guarantee it wasn't that.
For me, it was the complete train wreck comes in, get it all put back together, looks killer, and they come in, they're pissed off, they got to write their deductible, and you won't help them shave their $500,000 deductible, and they go and they don't even look at their car. Yeah. They jump in there, get in it, turn the key, and they leave.
And you stole their sunglasses and lost their right.
Exactly.
It's a wild industry, man. To me, like to this day, now that I've done this for so long, I look at a car. You get in an accident, fuck up a bumper cover and a fender, you might as well total the car. I don't care who you are. It will never look the same.
You are 1,000% right.
Never in a million years. I don't care who fixes it. It's done right one time, and it can never look like that again.
Well, they give you zero tolerance for anything. Yeah. The cars are built so tight that, it's like one of our cars. We've fixed stuff on our cars that have gotten into accidents, and it's hard. You get somebody get hit, you're like,
it's never the same.
Oh, it sucks. Right.
I get like a rental car and you can see, like, holy fuck, quarter's been painted, and it had a fender on it. And shit, they put a roof skin on this one. What happened to this car?
You probably rented it previously.
Open the door, see the panel bond seam right at the top. This one's it.
It's tough. That's a tough industry.
Well, if you ever ride with Kyle Tucker in one,
you
know why they look the way they look.
I could tell a story on that.
Phil got to experience that too.
So it really is awesome to hear that story about, like you said, your dad being young, being so passionate about that. You don't hear that a lot about him, and I'm sure like he's got to live vicariously through you on a lot of
it's
stuff.
Awesome now because he just man, I know everybody has the stories of the hot rod magazines. I mean, it's stupid. I mean, he's a pack rat. I love him to death. And if he hears this, I'm sorry, but pack rat, like stacks of hot rod magazines from the 80s. Like,
have you taken him to SEMA?
Yeah, well, I have. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Yeah. And the great thing is like, we get to go to SEMA, and then like, there's times like, we got to help a little bit on some Troy stuff, and,
who's this Troy? Everybody keeps talking about
that. He's this famous guy.
It comes up a lot.
Yeah.
I was wondering, you guys should probably at this point just have like a choice segment.
Yeah.
We need to have a fucking buzzer.
We need something to signify it, to keep track of it within the podcast.
A Troy counter?
Like how many times?
Yeah.
I would rather just bleep out the name every time somebody says it, and we don't do it. I was working. We did get to do some stuff with. Who the fuck was it? I wonder who it was.
Why don't we do like a little piggy bank and we just throw money in it every time? End of the season, we crack it open.
The Troy
bank.
You guys be broke.
Fuck. I mean, it's hard. Yeah. He inspired a lot.
It's like, I'm being honest, like, seeing the cornfields, it just, it made me go, this is possible. You know, I know that sounds silly, but you know, you don't get that kind of stuff. You know,
Right.
it's you know, I'm used to going to local car shows. You know, you see them and you're just like, you know, the local paint job, whatever, and they're great. You know, guys put a lot of time into that stuff, but
It's not what you.
no, it's not
It's not the movie star shit.
absolutely
It's not the stuff that you're like,
perfection.
holy fuck,
yeah,
is that?
you know, walking in there, and you know, and that's the thing. He got a phone call, and we got to do some stuff for him, and you know, it was cool because all of those guys are just the coolest people on the face of the planet, and that's the like. That was like, you know, for me, when I started meeting people, you know, Alloway and Troy and just everybody, they're so down to earth. And I think that, you know, these cars keep them, you know, honest. You know, you don't get to be a rock star because, you know, you build a car, it'll kick you in the dirt. You know, it's great. And you talk to them and they're all so cool. And then, you know, bring my dad around and he gets to see the stuff that he saw in magazines. And, you know, he gets to walk up and, you know, screw the velvet rope, you know, come in here, look at this. And Troy takes him around stuff, or Adam takes him around stuff. And
You know what? Why else it's easy to like stay humble? Because really nobody else gives a fuck.
no, it's true.
You come home and nobody gives a shit. If you're not in this industry, they don't give a shit.
They don't care.
Yeah. You know, we did, you know, we were in that documentary thing that Troy did. And I was trying to show my daughter, you know, because, you know, sometimes I put a lot of hours and you're trying to be like, you know, look, this is worth it. Like, look. And, you know, she sees Adam and he's talking and shit and, you know, and he's explaining stuff. And I'm just like a blip, you know,
Put Frozen back on.
yeah, well, no, it wasn't even that. It was just like, she's like, you know, I see Adam there, but like, where were you at? I'm like, I pause it. I'm like, I'm right there. See, right there.
All the fame.
Yeah.
Did I tell the story on here about my fame story? I tell that one about the guy at the shopping mall.
No.
Dude, so I just think this is hilarious because, like, to Josh's point, like, nobody gives a fuck what we do, right? Nobody knows. But I go out shopping with my daughter just like a year ago, and take her to some shopping mall. We're like 45 minutes away, and this is great, like, you know, father-daughter little bonding session.
Popping
Love
out of
it,
the
right?
cat store.
Yeah, getting little mittens and stuff. And I'm sitting there in a busy store, and this guy is like looking me up and down, and I'm like, "What the fuck is up with this guy?" Like, I'm thinking,
Fixing to
in
go.
today's day and age, you're like, I'm making sure I got like
Right.
my pocket knife on me. I'm like, all right, Charlie, just move over there for a minute. Daddy's about to like stab somebody.
Shake somebody.
Better go to work.
Right. Dude walks over and he comes up to me, and I'm like kind of standing back, and he's like, "Hey, man." I'm like, "Yeah, can I help you?" He's like, "Oh, it is you. It is you." He's like, "You're that dude on that Autotopia. I saw you on Autotopia." Yeah. So after all that, he's still like, I don't give a shit who I am, but he saw me on Autotopia. You know.
That's funny. That's what I told we flew out to Pomona this year. I took my oldest with me, and we're in the airport, and he does the same thing. And he's gone to a couple car shows with me, and you know, we always run into somebody. He's like, "Man, Dad, how do you know somebody? You know, like, so many people, you know?" And I'm joking, I'm playing it off like, "Well, man, you know, it's just what I do."
Your dad's
Not-
fucking famous.
Not realizing that, hey, we're going to a car show. These are car guys flying to the same place, right? So you know everybody
So
that way.
funny.
It's just like a family reunion.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it's
But it's a good community.
it is. You know, and not to go back to the Troy deal though, but it's the Model A was the first
another
car.
dollar.
Yeah.
The Model A was the first car we went and helped with,
Oh,
and the Mariani Model A.
yeah.
And I'm an awesome deal. Same deal like normal. Hey, we're going to take it to SEMA. Man, we need a lot of help.
Yeah.
And so we went in there, the crazy hour deal. And Warren, just an awesome dude to work with, you know, and then obviously just walking in that place, you guys have all been there, you know, and you go back to the technology side, like you said, and you look at what you're doing technology wise. And then you talk to Adam, and then all of a sudden Adam's like, "Yeah, I built that quarter panel," and it's like, "Where's the buck? Where's everything else?" And it's like, "I just made it, man." It's like, what in the world?
That was actually a street beast.
Right?
You think he pulled a template off?
Yeah.
Right? I think the thing that sold me is we were working on that Model A.
You're talking about that trim piece that he did?
Yeah, so
Jesus.
we're killing it. I mean, just trying to crazy hours. And then Warren looks at us and says, "Hey man, have you guys seen the garnish moldings?" We're like, no, man, there's no garnish moldings. So we're looking everywhere for garnish moldings for that Model A. And he's like, hey, when you guys go back to the shop, ask Adam where the garnish moldings are at. This is 2 days before they're going to leave for SEMA, right?
It was, I don't think we were there when it was 2 days before SEMA, but like we were there when they realized there wasn't one.
And so I told Adam, hey, Warren's looking for the garnish moldings. And he goes, well, tell him I haven't made them yet. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, really, I haven't made them yet. I'll make them tonight.
And then,
okay.
Then I'm at SEMA and like, you know, he's in, you know, his haze because, you know, I'm sure he didn't sleep. And he comes up to me and he's like, hey, dude, check out these garnish moldings. And I'm like, cool, man. I'm like, you know, and it's like, you know, Adam's just a killer at everything. So it's like, it's perfect. And he's like, yeah, I made those like 2 days ago. Warren, I shipped them to Warren. He body worked them, painted them, and look at how good they fit. And they were, I mean, you know, just seamless, perfect. And you're just like, Adam, why do you make us feel so bad about this?
So working with it, because I love following his work. It's the work that you see on Instagram that if it just comes up in your feed, you know it could be the smallest bracket, and you're like, oh, I know that's got to be Adam Banks because it looks incredible. But working with him, I mean, is it just amazing. Like it just comes out fucking perfect?
He makes you feel dumb. He talks about cars in a way that I just sometimes I'm like, hey, dumb this down a bit. I'm a body guy. I'm not on your level. And that's the thing is like you go there and they're all just like, no, like you're killer. Like you know, and they're all great people.
It's the stuff you don't see behind the scenes though. Like, you know, I go to his house and in the basement, Adam's drawing the wheel.
You go to too many dudes' basements. This is becoming a thing.
How do you think he got where he got, man? Gotta go to a couple basements.
I got bad knees. They you know, I go down the basement and here's the wheel he's drawing out for the 49 Caddy. Well, for the Cadillac that Ring Brothers was building, right? And I mean, it's broken down as segments with overlays. I mean, drawing down the machine, and I mean, it's to scale. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and like I said, you can't help walk out and you feel a little stupider, you know, a little bit. I mean, and it's very humbling.
It's inspirational too.
It is.
I mean,
every time we go there to do anything, and we're very fortunate to be geographically in the location we are. And I just bring it up because we have a lot of thanks to Troy for what he's done for us, for letting us work on the projects he has, from letting us do machining work for him to, you know, going over there and he helped Warren do the paint and body for the 41 for Rydell's, to let us do machine work for it, the intake manifold, emblems, just different things like that. And obviously they don't have to, but he knows that, you know, I bought this CNC machine. I got a guy who can do it. Warren's running everything. Lawrence is running everything maxed out. Don't have any more time, so they'll send some of the overflow to us. And like I told him the other day, it's you know, you got to stop sometimes and realize we do. Like, man, this is awesome what we get to do. And Fiber Forge, which we'll go into that, is really helped that to what we're enjoying the most right now is working with all the shops. I mean, literally, I don't care. If every car in my shop left and we had to work to keep us busy for doing we're working, you know, with Roger at Ironworks, you know, we've done Ring Brothers, we're doing Troy, honestly,
this Troy dude sounds cool.
It was a thing where
when I start talking, I'm not talking about Troy. I promise you, I love him to death.
I mean, I
won't say Troy.
Honest with you guys, it's a thing where it's like, it's awesome. I looked at him and the guys in the shop. It's like, God dang, man. I mean, we get to do some work with the guys at the roaster shop. This is awesome. I mean, to the engineering part.
We feel the same way. We got to send you a fucking chassis.
That's what I mean. To work with the chassis side, to the engineering side, to share that stuff, and the trust that's involved in that, right? The trust. And to me, I get caught up a lot more in the relationships sometimes than the jobs. Mm-hmm. They mean more to me.
It'll bite your ass too.
Basement?
I know.
Okay.
He just refinished it. It's pretty sad.
we finished up early enough.
You got trains down there.
Sort of crashed.
It's a pretty cool
I
base.
better see that in the headline. We're talking hot rods and trains.
Dude, I'm with you though. The
No
relationships
cats.
are great. Being able to work with shop, and we're in a similar position because of what we
Absolutely.
do, and that's the most rewarding part for me. I mean, we're doing stuff with you. I mean, even you like we've got your dash, right? Your carbon dash,
Right.
and that Jimmy that
Yep.
we're doing. Well, we got that from you like a year ago, and I think it must have been last week. Harold Chapman texted me,
Yes.
and he's like, "I've been talking to Zach. We could use this dash."
Right.
Like we already got you covered.
Right.
It's been it's mounted, it's done. It's handled. Like yeah, we should. It's
Yep.
a good idea, man.
No, that was awesome. That was, and you know, there's a, and not that you do anything less than any of the customer stuff, but be honest, just like that when you text, you know, and I went back there and said, hey, we got to build them guys a dash, and it better be fucking perfect, you know, because I want you to unbox it and look at it and be like,
Yeah, that's a beautiful
okay,
piece, man.
I
It
understand
really
it,
is.
you know, I get it, and that's we tried to do everything. I mean, the guy who went, like Jesse, for example, Jesse Green, we want to talk, you know, relationships and how good a dude is, you know.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, the Troy guy, we were joking about the Troy guy.
Yeah.
Who's Jesse? Who's this Jesse?
Right.
Cat.
Jesse Greening.
He sounds country.
He does, don't he?
Never met him, but he sounds Jesse Green.
He-
Sounds.
He was one of the first guys too when I did Fiber Forged come up, and I mean he said, hey, I'm doing this Maverick, and he goes, can you guys build all these parts? And I said, I can build them. He never questioned it afterwards, you know, and besides the CUDA, he never seen anything I ever built, but he went out on a limb to trust us to build these parts for his build. And like anything else, you know, we're getting ready for SEMA, and there's parts coming in literally the month of SEMA, and we're trying to bang them out and get them done. And I knew they were under a gun, and so Ed finishes them completely out, all the way to satin clear and everything. And we get to SEMA, and the first thing that happens is Jeff comes up and just gives us a hug. He's like, dude, I could kiss you. He goes, we pulled those things out of the box. They were finished and they fit, you know. And that was the best rewarding moment at that point. I looked at him, I said, this is what I want to do. I want to build parts and work with other shops and do this, because we helped with their build. We helped do a segment of that for them to take that load off. Basically, they hired us to buy themselves time, right?
Sure.
And to finish the product. And then at the end, you know, the car goes out and they go run to 200 miles an hour, you know, and I mean, all your shit holds up. They curb it and run up on a speed bump, and you know, he calls me and says, hey, I'm going to need you to make a carbon part. You still have the
He
mold.
needs a lot of carbon parts.
I know now, right?
Yeah.
I know. I got them all back. And I said, yeah. He goes,
He needs more than just carbon parts.
yeah, that's a whole car. But I mean, they called me back and said, hey, dude, I don't need the part anymore. Everything attached to caved in, but your carbon's still good.
Yeah.
And I was like, thanks. And but just a great guy. We worked with.
But
you know,
that's
them
why
multiple
that's
times.
why you guys are where you're at, honestly, because you know, we're thankful and we try to have the same mentality, right? And you went back there and talking about the dash. It's funny because we've got so many guys that have been here for so long, right? That these guys have built chassis, built control arms, built cross members, built 4 bars, built motor mounts, just run the press brake, built the crates, boxed the parts. These guys all have done all these individual parts, and we got a lot of guys that have been here for a long time. Well, they've seen all of these great customers, right? And we're so fortunate enough to have all these. But it gets funny after a while, you know, you've done for Kendig, you've done for Zrodz, you've done for, there's this Troy dude that somebody's kept talking about, right?
BBT.
BBT. Yeah, Troy from BBT.
We've done
You know,
some stuff for him.
and I mean, from all the TV shows to all the biggest builds, I mean, to Sloanecker winners, to Riddler winners, all this kind of stuff. Some of these guys now, it's just like they know from the guy that's done the first chassis to maybe the guy's name is like, oh, I know he's a home builder, but he bought like a chassis like 2 years ago. They don't care. It's every single thing that they're doing is got to go out and be fucking nice, because if they're buying from the Roadster shop, it's going to be a nice ass fucking build. So that mentality breeds through everything, from the lady answering the phone, from all this kind of stuff. And that's why you guys are where you're at. We're fortunate enough to have done pretty well as well. Other shops do the same thing. And when you hear about manufacturers or people in this industry, when you start having some like bad blood and someone's like, oh, you know, fuck them and they did this, and you hear it a little bit there, you kind of start thinking, you're like, man, it's probably not just people making up stories, because this is a pretty tight industry and people are happy when you're taking care of them. Like you said, Jesse said you can build those parts. And you said, yeah. He never asked you. If you'd have failed,
Right.
you wouldn't have been building any more parts.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it was also a Maverick though, so like
So who knows if they
It's the Maverick that whooped our ass for Street Machine of the Year. That's honestly a pretty good one.
It did.
No,
it's
does.
crazy how like the customers elevate your build quality, and then that keeps kind of building onto the next one.
Absolutely.
And you get some of these, high profile guys, and you just want to impress them and make your whole team step up to, impress their crew. And then the next one comes, and it builds your company by the customers that you're building stuff for.
Oh, absolutely.
That's so true. You get people call in, like we'll deal with customers or sales guys will, and it'd be another shop or a customer calling in for a chassis, and they're referencing another car that another shop built that maybe just won something. Like, I want it nicer than that Cal Auto car. Like, well, it was a fast track chassis. Like, you're like, I want it nicer than that chassis. Like, I don't know what you can like. He bought the standard chassis. Like okay, we'll put a little extra special sauce on it. Like, everything that you do is what makes it nicer. Like, yeah.
But there's a difference, though. You guys, you build a name. For your part, just like you guys have with your chassis. Just for example, the truck we're building the second truck right now, and just like that truck, for example, when it went to, hey man, talking to that customer that we're building our relationship with you guys at this point. We're looking at redesigning the chassis for our future trucks, and explain that to him. And there's another chassis underneath that truck, to the point of, man, I want a roaster shop chassis underneath my truck, all the way to the point where it's hey, we've already put money into this thing. We've already put the truck on top of it to pull that chassis out and put your guys underneath it.
That's not lost on us. I hope you understand. That means a lot. It
means a lot. And I mean, the name means a lot at that point, and that's where, to the customer and to us, you look at, how do you put the best product out there? To put the best product out there, you use the best product available in our industry, with the people putting forth the most effort to make it the best product.
Absolutely.
Exactly. The reason why we can put out what we think is the best product is because the 100+ fucking guys
absolutely
that are all doing their same job the same way of putting out their individual product the best that they can fucking do.
And it was what I can say, pulling that out and putting that truck underneath there, it was, I'm putting the chassis underneath that truck. Everything was great. I mean, the biggest thing I can complain about is I had to cut an 1/8 inch shim to make everything square up on the cab. And hey, I'll live with that.
And that's a carbon fiber body. Who's to say that?
Yeah, it wasn't us.
I think we were both off of 16.
I'll split that with you. I'll split the 16th with you. Hey, but yeah, it was awesome, and it means something though, that with the next guy who calls and says, hey, what are we doing here? And I sit there and tell him, say, well, here's what we do. Here's what the package you get. We worked out a deal with Roaster Shop Chassis where this is more specific to our truck now and built for that. Dude, it's done. You know what I mean? I mean, we're literally, after this, I need to have a conversation of, hey, how do I order 3 more chassis now?
So the breaking news is that all future Zrodz carbon fiber turnkey trucks are on Roadster Shop chassis.
All Zrodz Fiber Forge builds are on Roaster Shop chassis.
Yeah, I'll take that one up. You want to go ahead and one up? Hey, I'll take it.
And we'll go more in the future in that, but we're getting ready we're a couple months away from starting, which is going to be pretty awesome. I got to build 2 back-to-back all carbon fiber monocoque 69 Camaros. And those will be transaxle based chassis. And they'll be Roaster Shop platforms.
Awesome.
Well, I'm going to take just a quick little sidebar, because we get asked all the time, people reaching out, either email or direct message. You got shops, you got friends, you got family stuff. People are like, hey, my so-and-so listens. They want to be on the podcast. They always want to reach out, try to get as guests on. You guys were planning to be guests, right? You're going to be guests regardless. I will to say that a good way to be a guest would be
There we go.
if you were to remove a competitor's chassis and put a Roach chassis on. And if you put that in the DMs, that would probably get you to the top of the list. Yeah, we probably. Am I right?
Now I just
Qualify.
It's not going to hurt.
It won't. It's certainly not going to hinder your
It's not going to hinder it. Yeah, for sure.
But dude, it's funny. Just talk more about the relationships of the shops. I was talking to Roger from Ironworks the other day, and we're just shooting the shit. I mean, Roger's a great dude, and we're just talking. And I brought something up to him, and I think you came up with it years ago. And I'm just kind of making a joke, but I'm like, dude, you know what we need? Like, this industry just needs like the super shop. Like a shop that's just everybody bands together.
1 million square
And I was,
feet.
I'm just kind of like, I'm just kind of joking around. But at the end of it, I start realizing, like, well, the reality of it is that it kind of is that way. That the people who kind of mesh together that I think are at a higher level and are delivering a quality product, everybody's using that. And it's like, it comes together. I mean, you look at that Jimmy, that's a good example that we're building right now. I mean, it's got your dash in it, right? It's got BBT Troy's mirrors on it. It's got Casey Wegner's motor in it, Bowler's transmission. And it's just all you build this super shop, so to speak. Yeah. And those are the products that you use because, they're quality businesses, quality parts. People are standing behind the stuff. And that translates. If you do that on every car you build, you got a happy customer.
Right.
And you got a great recipe. Even the cord that we're doing. I mean, we keep talking about the other Troy. I mean, that's, I think Troy's son, Jack, now he's kind of bringing out a lot of their parts, right? Yeah. Which he's doing a hell of a job with it. Yeah. And it's great because it's, they're great people.
Absolutely.
Phenomenal business. Obviously, anything that he touches has got to be just unbelievable.
Obviously got his looks from his mom because way better looking than his dad.
Yeah, good looking kid.
Yeah, it's a good looking kid. Yeah.
But I mean, we're using a column of his and that they got these badass new columns and that's
all their electric boosters.
Yeah, his electric boosters, and it just makes that's the great part of the industry.
And that's what's awesome.
It goes even further than, like you said, on the major shops building because you got all these up and coming builders, right? When I was going to go down that road a little bit when you're talking about that new mentality, I feel like there was a lag for probably 5 or 6 years in the late 20-teens, early for the last, it's come on in the last 3 or 4 years, you start seeing this massive amount of talent from all of these brand new shops all over the place. And then shops that have kind of been creeping for a couple of years, all of a sudden now are just really hitting it. You've got all of these smaller shops that are making their name, right? That have made relationships with us, made relationships with you, that are using those same products and are able to give that customer such a higher level of quality because of that super shop community, right? Because if you call, because there's a relationship there, even if you bought 1 or 2 chassis, right? You've got a relationship. We hang out 15 times in Columbus or in these shows, whatever. You've got the relationship. So you can call and be like, man, have you ever dealt with this? You're like, yeah, I fucking have dealt with that. Have you ever checked this? Holy shit. And we do the same thing. So we've created the super shop and the customers are benefit from it no matter where your shop is. You don't have to be a Troy. You don't have to be a Roadster shop that using these parts to give these customers. You could be a Blue Sky, right? You could be all these different shops out there, K32 Customs, because you got the relationship. Hey, what do I do about this? This is the wheel and tire fitment. You got to do this. You got to do this. The customer benefits because of the relationships.
It's 100% the relationships, and as the product, you choose the people to work with because the product works. That's what you do. Yep. And then also the difference of when you make that phone call, who's going to pick up the phone? Yep. It's just like, I mean, I've called you a few times. You pick up the phone, and I'll be honest with you.
I'm not that busy.
Goddamn, he's picking up the phone.
I know I accidentally texted you some nonsense.
I'm talking about record.
Yeah,
I'll be honest. Dude, you need me to pick something up about that.
I did.
It was like days later. I'm like, oh shit.
Zach and Zach.
That was so funny, man. Because we have a PRI show, right? So you come in. That's when I was like, man, just sit in the truck, so you could feel that it don't feel like a truck, right? When you sit in it. And then I think it was a little bit later. I got
is that when we went to the record store after?
Yeah, I got this message like, hey, do you something about vinyl, right?
Yeah,
something
about vinyl.
Record, yeah, vinyl.
Pick me something.
And I stopped, and I'm like,
Fuck's wrong with this guy?
You know, and
I was
truck for 2
minutes.
This fucker's talking to me
and I looked at him.
I wonder if I could go to his basement.
I was he goes, what the fuck's this?
Yeah, I was like, what's this mean? I was like,
He
is
said,
this?
look at this.
Maybe we're friends.
Yeah, is this like he's like interviewing me? Or, you know, I was like, am I interviewing for a friend here?
It's like, damn it, I shouldn't let him sit in the truck. No, he's gonna.
It was
And then I was wondering
It's
because honestly, I'm a music guy, right? I'm into music. I do collect vinyls. That's what was weird because I'm like, well, man, I actually have a lot of vinyls. Like, what are you asking here, right?
Maybe he's stalking.
And then I text you back like I said, right now I go through like stages, but I'm like in the early like R&B, like Al Green, you know,
Sure.
like Marvin Gaye type stuff, right? And anyways, so I'm sitting here,
You're,
I'm like,
you're showing me the phone.
I'm
you're
like,
what's going
man,
on
so I'm
here?
gonna text
Boys
him,
to
like,
men.
yeah, right? So I'm like, I don't know what to text him here, you know. So it was funny. Then in the letter you texted me and said, hey, this might be weird, but I think I texted the wrong Zach.
I think it was days later.
It
though.
was. Yeah, it was like,
Well, he came to me and
right.
he's like, "Hey, like you listen to the podcast, like
I was like, does he like
talk about vinyl or something?
Does he like people albums or something like that? You know?
Just turns out
You're really lucky. That's all you got.
After I realized that,
I'm
I was
running through
like,
scenarios in my head right now. How different that could have went.
Yeah. You're like, sorry, dude, that was a totally different Zach. I was like, okay.
But yes, the connections are there. The
Yeah.
customers benefit. The
Yeah.
shops benefit. Because there's not anybody out there
No.
that doesn't have fucking problems, and you got to have that ear to bend. And I hope the younger shops that are coming up can get to that point quick where they feel like they can do that. Because I know younger, I would have never. I did with maybe Alan Johnson pretty quickly because we built a relationship there. But I was always very conscious about asking about an issue because I felt it made me look bad.
Yeah. Like nobody else had them.
Yeah.
I remember when you blew that motor up on that Chevelle, you were definitely trying to like not look bad when that happened at Optima. You're trying
Oh, yeah.
There was
I
nothing-
was up to SEMA that year.
Yeah, you're trying to play that up like
I wasn't driving. I wasn't driving.
smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Hey,
Y'all ever had?
There was
I was
first of
there
all,
for that.
I was smoking a cigarette, but there was no trying to play it cool. There was no faking that. That thing grenaded.
Yeah.
That thing, it was on and it was off.
y'all ever had pistons on the outside of the motor?
I got oil coming out where oil ain't supposed to come out.
But you know what happens is, and I think what the younger guys and what people need to know the most about this industry is everybody really is approachable, you know, and really is where you can go talk to them.
Some of us had just bad faces.
Yeah, it is.
It's just
That's what I get
it's not
told.
a personality, it's
My
a bad
wife and I,
face.
we get told we have resting bitch face all the time, like where you're not unapproachable, you know?
Yeah.
And I get that. And there is a relationship. It's like
First guy that's ever come on the podcast called his wife a bitch.
that's
I
ain't going there. You said that. You said that, dude.
I'm gonna pin that right on you.
Yeah, I need another drink. So,
That's gonna be the clip that leads it.
we're gonna edit that one. I did not say that. I did not say that. What I was leading up to is how relationships start.
Yeah. Or
And how they're formed, and then how communication's important to sometimes really find out the real story about people.
You're
about
100%
shops,
right.
right? And how I'll just say it. It's a thing where, I met Art Morrison the very first time the Charger was at SEMA. My very first time out, right? And I'm sitting. It's after the banquet.
the same time you met me. So
It was.
we
It was the same
started
time
the
I
same.
met you.
Yeah, some-
It was.
He took art over you.
And honestly, yeah, and I won't forget that.
Art's a more likable guy than John.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is. He's a more approachable.
Yeah, he's got a good personality.
you
And
got a better face.
But I remember, I still remember that. I remember you talking on stage. I remember, I think you guys it was either Trendsetter or I think it was Trendsetter.
Yeah.
And I was actually in the table you guys pointed
It was
to
definitely Trendsetter.
at the time.
2013.
And you talked about how,
Trophy right here.
when you were talking about that, you talked about how, you guys were sitting at that table right over there. It was a table I was actually at. And you said when these guys walked by, and from Troy to whoever, and you said, man, those guys walking by, hey, that's that guy. Hey, that's that guy. And now you guys are up on their stage.
I was actually referencing in that thing
them.
That was the night that they got trendsetter.
Yes, it was.
That was 09 or 10.
I think 2009.
Yeah, I referenced the fact that we were sitting in there, and I saw all those people going when they came up to get their trendsetter.
And I believe that year you guys got Business of the Year, if I'm not mistaken. You guys were awarded that because your dad was up on stage at that time, and your dad was talking. And I was sitting at that table, and I said, and that's the motivation part. Me back looking at even you guys saying, "Fuck, man, that's what I want. I want that right there," and that's what drives you, And that was the push for me. That first SEMA visit, that first HRA show, the awards, everything. It was what I pushed to try and go for, and I think that's good and bad. I think in the industry I've talked to a lot of younger shops, and I think we all at one point sold our soul to a lot of shit,
100%
to get there. Good and bad.
Yeah.
What I try and give advice to younger guys is sometimes not to have to go there to risk everything, because there's some guys that don't make it because of it.
We just had this conversation with Henry from Steadfast.
Yeah.
He was out here,
man.
Phenomenal guy. And, he had some remorse for doing exactly what you're talking about, because we've all been there. All the things that you missed, all the things you sacrificed. And he was kind of presenting it as advice to the younger generation to not do it. But there was an argument to that, right? That if you don't, how do you get?
You're not going to get there.
No,
right, how do you get there?
I get it.
Then it's terrible.
It's always easy to say from the people that have gotten it. Like, oh, don't worry about it. Just take your time.
Well, both me and him have a story. Like when I was young, I spent some time with Clay Cook. And Clay Cook worked with me, trained me on the pull max, planche, and hammer.
Me too.
I was a very young guy, and he spent a lot of time with me. And me and Henry talked about that, and talked about there's a guy in the industry that a lot of people didn't like, to be honest with you, because of more of an attitude more than anything, but very talented.
It's such a good dude.
It's a personality thing, correct? I liked the hell out of him.
Hell of a nice guy.
Nice guy. He did anything good for me.
If he liked you,
yes. I got shit in my shop. I got dyes that I never paid for that he just sent me, right? Yeah. And that, so I look back at that, and me and Henry were talking about him when that whole deal went, and how he was in and left the industry completely unnoticed. Everything he did for the industry.
You're right.
I mean, guys who have his hammers to everything else, to the pull max, and left the industry without being noticed, and watching everything that guy had be sold on a fire sale.
Yeah.
Right. And that impacted Henry for one.
Yep.
And we had a big talk about that, and how you sell your soul to this industry and what you do. And then something like that happens, a guy leaves, and almost people don't notice, in a sense.
So
nobody gives.
The masses don't, but then think about the people that do, like me.
Yeah.
Like the Roadster shop today there's a lot of what we've done is a result of his influence.
Exactly.
Probably you, Henry, certainly. So it's not all unnoticed.
No.
Do you think that the younger generation has the same, God, we sound fucking old saying the younger generation.
I was going to say you are the young generation.
They don't know what old is.
Compared to you.
You guys got the same.
We do.
Like brothers.
I hate sounding this fucking old, but do you think they have the same internal timeline or biological clock, for lack of a better word, of work to their perceived success? Because I know from just what we're talking about, from 2009, sitting there in awe of these two guys, and we were friends at that point, and I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking amazing. I can't believe that we text and talk.
Was that just my good looks at the time, or you accomplishments?
It's because you like cats.
Yeah.
You always get to ruin a good moment.
Keep going. I'm enjoying it. So you're complimenting me. So
and then 2013, flip the script, and you were up there accepting, right? So that's 4 years. Yeah. And at that point in time, I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe this has happened so fast. And everything that has happened, even to this day, I'm like, holy shit, it seems like just yesterday, right? And I can't believe this is happening so fast. And then to get out of bed in the morning, you're like, fuck, I'm creaking. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm 45. Then you think how long you've been in this. But I hope that it's not that way, but I pick up a little bit here and there, little nuances and stuff, and talking to people and, of their feel of like, well, I can't believe I didn't win this. I can't believe. And, when you're talking about like 18 months in business, or you're talking about this. And I wonder, just as a generation, society in general, everything's faster. I wonder if their expected ROI is sooner than what ours was, or if they're more focused on the ROI than what we were. I think most of us were surprised by the awards because it wasn't about the awards. Right. It was about just doing the next crazy thing. I don't know. I don't have the right answer, and I'm just exploring that. Are they more focused on the awards, so they put a tighter timeline on it, or what?
What's weird is in
Customers
our shop, besides, I don't think they are. I don't think they're focused on the award side of it. I really don't. In our shop, it's a thing of, guys go there, they enjoy what they do. It's a job, and they enjoy their job. But I have a lot of the guys that they could give a shit about going to a car show.
Well, what I'm talking about more like younger shops, right? Younger shops that are in business that are buying. Okay, really? They don't like. They're just building the cool shit.
They're building the cool shit. They don't care about going to car shows. They don't care about so much the award side of it.
Make the customer happy.
Well, it is mostly
it's
that.
Either that
you
or
can get more likes on social media tomorrow.
Right.
You don't have to have it done for Columbus in
correct
3 months.
And that's where I think like our world was like, we all come up from, you want Street Machine of the Year, right?
Yeah.
You want.
You still should.
You want the Mother Shine Award, you still should.
I want a Street
I'm not
Machine
going to
of
go
the
to
Year.
that. I'm not going to go to that because that was solely the only award I wanted. and you guys know how that went
Can
for
you get
me.
we in on
Putting
that?
the truck in there.
Yeah.
Which
and I'm not, and I'm
Street
like I
Machine?
said, yes.
Yeah, that award's overrated. We got beat by a Maverick.
I get that.
That's that country, dude.
And I'm not going to say that
That's because it had our car.
God bless it, Roger. You built a killer Mustang, okay? But at that time, it was
got them gold wheels on it.
was sitting there and having debate like, hey, we've had a lot of people say this is a race car and not really a street machine. And it's like, well, tell me what I need to do to prove it's a street machine. Do you want me to go drive it to the hotel and back? Let's go. Whatever I need to do. I followed your stipulation. I don't want to go down that path. That was the only sour award I had all year, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because that was the only one I wanted to go after in my own mind. And the reason why, the people I admired and put on a pedestal in this industry, you guys, Troy, Ring Brothers, I wanted that because for me, obviously making a customer happy is what we do.
Yeah, but when you lost a shit ton of money, that trophy sure does feel good.
No, it does. It does. But at the end of the day, it was, I want to be a peer and be accepted by my peers.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I've been acknowledged that my work or the work we've done is to the quality or level of those guys.
Yeah, I think
it means
I get
everything.
that 100%, but I know that you're chasing that, but you've already reached that point because your peers are buying your product and your parts are on those cars.
But you know what? When you came up to Columbus, I'll say, well, you came up to me in Columbus. We were in Columbus. I think you must have a younger boy.
Yeah.
So you got a younger boy. You look in the truck, and you came up to me at that point when you're a young boy looking at you, said, "Dude, it's a badass truck, man." That meant a lot to me. It really did. And honestly, we haven't talked a lot before that, truthfully. Yeah. But
it's his face. It's all about his face.
I've got the resting bitch face thing.
and the cats.
I never got to finish on the relationship side before that. But when you came up and said that to me and walked away afterwards, I looked at the guy next to me and said, "Man, that's pretty awesome." I haven't talked to that guy a lot, but he literally walked up and said, "Dude, that's a badass truck." And it meant a lot coming from you guys because I put you guys on a pedestal with everybody else, and my goal was to get to there. My goal was to get to be able to sit with you guys, you know? So that's why when I say working with you guys mean a lot, it means a lot because there's a trust relationship at that point. And you're trusting me to do something. And I'm going to fulfill that trust relationship. And there's not going to be a product that leaves that would be anything less than what you guys would put out.
You are recording this, right?
Hey,
Yeah.
dude,
You
cheer.
got-
Hey,
So
we're
you know what I'm
sitting. We're sitting. You wanted to sit. We're sitting tonight.
We're sitting. And I remember,
I appreciate that, man.
and I remember when you and I talked about this, and when we went to the Catalina wine mixer that night, which was one of the most awesome experiences. Honestly.
Jesus.
It would be the Roadster Shop Best on RS Party.
It was
Also known as the Catalina Wine Mixer.
And I told you that it was a thing where I wanted that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I wanted that award. And that's something you guys got to look at, that out there's guys that want that.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at that and said, man, I wanted that, right? And-
You actually said if we had that Roadster Shop chassis, that we would have got that. That's quite what you said.
I did. And it was you learn some lessons along the way.
We all do.
We do. And it was a thing where, you know, I'm going to say it. I was an Art Morrison shop. Okay. The early relationship was developed with Art. He sat down, then became Craig. You know, obviously, I became really good friends with Craig. I mean, this is what I did with Craig at car shows all the time. We'd sit and drink some bourbon.
At least you were at the car show, not in his basement.
But from what I know, though, I might want to have been in his basement.
Yeah.
So, but and obviously, well, you lost him way too early, right? And but the relationship is what was built, and then from there you turn, and I've just like what you said. You said, "Hey, I always come around, shake the hand, let you know I'm here." Right? Yep. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
And we talked, and I said, "Yeah, I get that, man, and we need to talk some more for the future."
Yep.
Because we're developing as a company, we're developing product as a company, and I'm looking at what's the best I can offer a customer. And with what we're doing with the carbon bodies and to put a platform underneath it, the best platform I can offer right now is to put your guys' chassis underneath it. So that's why that decision was made. And it was an easy one after that, and especially when the customers recognized what was going underneath it.
Sure.
And that's how the relationships grow, you know. And then the willingness to work with us afterwards was awesome. So that's what moved that relationship forward.
Means a lot. It really does mean a lot. And I mean, all that was heartfelt. When I would come to you and I'd tell you, it's a fucking badass truck.
Yeah.
Of course I was planting the seed, but I was being respectful of, you've got a relationship, everything, if they're treating you well and you're happy with the product, fucking awesome. What you just built, cool. Just letting you know, hey, whenever it doesn't, I mean, you got the relationship still here, whether you're buying or not buying.
Right.
That's when he comes around, brings a little bracelet and says, "Hey, come to the party."
Yeah. And I was at a party.
Yeah.
I mean, I said I had time on my hands. I didn't say I was stupid.
He's not as dumb as he looks.
We tried to leave that night actually a little early.
We walked into the party. This meant a lot to me. Tim Strange up there running his mouth. You know how he is.
And you know what? I'm going to stop there for a second, though. Not enough credit's probably given to him for that stuff sometimes.
Yeah, I like Tim a lot.
The industry needs a guy like him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a guy who can pick up the microphone and just fill the space.
He's got no problem doing that.
Zero.
Yeah.
You know, he's awesome dude.
We walk in and he sees me and goes, "Oh, there's Rod Parsons." I'm like, "Oh shit." You know, and then he says, and "There's Zrodz."
Yeah,
you know?
and when he called out builders,
and
right?
I told Zach later. I said, "Josh, put him up that shit."
Yep.
No, that one I did. That one I did. We don't put Tim up to nothing. We just let Tim roll.
That's
what
ready to leave,
I
and I don't
told
know
you.
who these Ring Brothers guys are, but they come up and they grab us and say, "You're not leaving yet."
Yeah.
And they pull us back out on the floor. 2 hours later, we were leaving, but I don't remember much afterwards.
That's the culmination.
Except showing my kids, like, "Hey, I was here." And this is it was a rock star party.
Yeah, that's the culmination of all the relationships that we're talking about. That's finishing the year out, with all those relationships.
That's when I decided you guys wasn't too bad, really.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. And with Tim Strain, I mean, he's about the only guy that you feel all right being like roasted, like hard at your own party.
Even with a tear, you're probably still smiling.
It's kind of funny.
Like if anybody else said that to me, I'd be pissed off. But it's all
It's
right.
funny, and you're kind of big. We're getting to Rod now,
Yeah,
but
go ahead.
right before we get to Rod, you talked about good guys, and you talked about the awards. You talked about. Hey, I want to ask your opinion. First of all, we love good guys, right? I think that we probably owe good guys way more credit than we give them, specific on this podcast about the awards and stuff where it's been. We're trying to have Mark on. We're gonna have Mark Metters on at some point this year.
Is he going to do it?
We were gonna have
We
it.
had a hard time connecting.
There were
with
some
Mark.
fucked up deals last year. Mark was going to be on. He had a cancellation. We had a cancellation. There was some screwy schedules. However, we owe a lot to good guys in our own personal development careers and stuff like that. On the awards specifically, we've talked to so many builders. I've talked to Mark. I've talked to Stephen Bunker in the parking lot. We've drank. We've done this. Roger from Ironworks as well. I know that they've got their own business. They can do whatever the hell they want. Everybody that's came on here has echoed the same exact thing, where you've said, I really wanted that award, but I wanted to be accepted by my peers. And then they've also bitched about some of the choices for some of those awards that they put on that pedestal, those Street Machine of the Year winners, or the excuses they made. Well, this is not really a Street Machine. How do you see the fix, or do you see the benefit on having those peers openly make those decisions for some of those awards that are so highly coveted?
I think as peers that
You can also say it's their fucking sandbox. They can play. They can do whatever they want to.
ultimately it is.
Yeah.
Ultimately it is. But even when I'll give you, and I'm not going to call us out. We were at a show, which I wasn't going to go to, and I flew out to, and was told by our peers, you should come out. To get there, to then the decision, even though the peers chose us, the decision ultimately get changed at the last second to somebody else winning. It was a thing for me with the truck was, obviously we know that truck's never been accepted into a Street Machine of the Year, right?
Right.
But when you read it, it says the vehicle displaying. It never actually says truck or car. So
You've also probably tried to go to traffic court to get out of a ticket. All right. I get your argument.
So when that happened,
This is where it gets serious right here.
I didn't, and it was okay. We went out, we did what we did. Yes, we autocrossed, and I'm not going to lie. It was I know you guys had a running on the fastest times, and my goal was to beat it.
Yeah, and you did.
And I did.
Son of a bitch.
I did.
I don't think I was there that year. That may have been the issue.
No, you was
No.
the other year I beat you.
No.
I was waiting on that.
It's been like 2.5 decades.
No, he told me I can't
couldn't
wait
wait.
to call out Phil, but I beat him. But yes, he did.
Fucking 44
So-
Magnum you in the face.
Yeah, dude, but here, I mean, you guys ripped
No, we
fucking
did.
up in that
We
truck.
did. And
It looked good.
just to the defense on that, right?
You fucking Kyle Tucker.
It was Kyle Tucker, but
They keep
but
all these
it,
names that we're
we
hearing.
it had the 10 and a half in we were not race ready by no means.
Nah, we
I
had a
get
show set
Kyle
up
runs
on
it and I go over like, how's it feel? He goes, feels like shit. He goes, the springs this, and I'm like, dude, it's just Street Machine of the Year, and just push it. And I said,
Such a fucking.
I don't care what you do.
Beat the Roadsters.
I said, beat the CUDA.
Yeah.
That's all I said.
He beat
the
Chris.
CUDA.
He beat Chris Jacobs.
Yeah.
That Chris Jacobs is the one
I
that
don't
took the
know.
loss.
I don't know if that falls on Chris Jacobs or us.
So
I'm gonna put it on Chris.
I will say this,
I'm gonna
and
put
put
it
it
on
out there
Chris.
for you guys.
Chris
Put it out there for you
Turbo
guys, and I hope I do it next on a Roaster Shop chassis. But I'll put it out there. We've ran the fastest time ever as a Street Machine in the class.
Oh,
We actually
that's kind of
They change the course
out-qualified.
every year.
kind
We
of a
actually
call-out.
out-qualified more than half of the autocross cars that run that Kyle did in 2 runs. They came back to us and told us like, hey, you do know that you out-qualified more than half of that class. And I was like, well, I hope so, with what we did, right? But that was and I mean, that's the competition side. That's okay.
Yes.
And now we can say it like as in laughing,
you totally
like, hey,
can, dude, because I
know.
looked at it too. I'm like, we're out there, and I'm like, all right, I got Chris Jacobs. He's my fucking wheel man, right? I mean, the car that Cuda wasn't like, we're not ready to autocross,
Right,
but at
I
the same
know.
time, I'm like, I know the car will handle pretty fucking
Right.
good. Like, we're ready enough. And I'm like, oh, dude, this is a dead ringer. Like, Chris Jacobs, Cuda, fucking IRS chassis. We got like that piece of cake. And then you guys, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like,
Hey, I like Chris. He's no
Fucker
Phil,
looks
he's
pretty
no Phil
good.
Gerber. He's no Phil Gerber.
I think you may have been involved. You have a baseball background, right? I think you may have involved in setting my son's travel team baseball schedule because I stayed home from Columbus to go to.
Yes.
Okay.
it's a long play. It's a long play. but it's
So are you
possible.
saying that Zach and Zrodz get an asterisk? Is that a Barry Bonds deal? They get a fucking asterisk?
But it was awesome, to be honest with you. That
the
whole
truck looked good out there.
Thank
man.
you. Thank
It
you.
looked really good.
And it was it was cool. That's our whole goal. It really was. And I know we're going to get to this, and
Yep.
we're going to get to Rod.
Yep.
The build of the truck was to do what we were going to do with it. And I'm like all of them in Escalades, right? But it was I wanted to get for the guys in the shop and for Ed, I mean, that was a blow. We went to Detroit, right? We debuted the truck at Detroit. And it wasn't really planned on
I
that.
love how you say it like we do in Alabama. It's Detroit.
Well,
It was.
it was not built for a Riddler.
It wasn't.
We
And
wasn't doing
truthfully, it was more of customer base, partner in my fiber forge shop, but also customer in general to the truck was, we gotta finish it. We're done, right? And you guys all know, I mean, we've all said it. If it wasn't for a deadline or a car show, none of these cars would get done.
Yep.
Okay.
Chase perfection till forever.
So it was more of a deal of, we got to set the date. And me and him agreed, we're just going to set the date and we're going to do everything we can to get there. And we did, from crazy hours to dislocated members of bodies to
What'd you dislocate?
My thumb,
yeah. I mean,
How
literally
many days did you have to take off?
none.
0.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
No. And
Fuck yeah.
I popped it back in place.
right, yes, right in the same place. He popped it back in place at 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
When he lost it, trying to
Fucking man.
fit a fender, and he hits the ground, and he's like, and he's holding his thumb. I looked at everybody else, and goes, I literally said, we're fucked.
No.
Right there. I said, we're fucked.
No
and,
rest-
and all of a
no
sudden I
rest
see
for
him
the
go like this. He's rocking back and forth, and pops it back in place, and it's like, I'm okay. Let's go.
Hey, did you ever get COVID?
No,
No.
Not that I tested for.
There's
Superhumans.
a difference between a man and an animal. These guys are animals.
Fuck yeah.
Nothing different than all of us haven't done.
Yeah, everybody.
So that's
Yeah.
Mel Gibson, Lethal Weapon, right?
Right. Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. You just got to throw the shoulder back in.
So we get to Detroit,
Bad.
and we never debuted it to go for anything, to be honest with you. And they're obviously doing the grade 8s. And when everything's out there, I'm like, man, we have a chance.
Well, I was looking
You
forward
know,
to Chicago.
When I was looking at, I was like, we have a chance. And then when we didn't get a grade 8, and compared to some stuff that did, some stuff that
Yeah, but dude, you can't.
no, I know, I
upset
get
about
that, I
it.
get that. The only upset part was when they gave us a 0 for paint, and that was my problem.
It had no paint on it.
They gave us a 0 for paint.
It's got a clear coat on it.
No,
No.
per them it was gel coat.
Yeah, I went up to.
But it's cleared, isn't it?
It's cleared.
I went up to
Yeah.
the.
No, I just took a break, man. The whole time.
You don't know body work, you know.
I didn't do anything to that
No.
thing. Our molds are that good.
Now that's the difference between. Be honest with you, a show I don't want to see die. I don't want to see Detroit die. I mean, we don't. I mean, we've all went there.
They just need to do a lot better.
They just need to do a lot better. Yes, I don't know how else to say it, but they need to do a lot better. But when I have a field of 70-year-old guys,
When's the last time they've turned a fucking wrench?
Absolutely.
When's the last time
That's
they
my
laid
argument.
down a fucking?
That's my argument. That's why at Triple Crown, for example, I'm going to talk about that show for a second. When Triple Crown come about, and we got the Ring Brothers Award. I don't care. Everything else that's up there on that.
Yeah, those are all.
I don't give a
They
fuck.
can't see real well.
They probably thought it was great.
Look at that nice charcoal.
No, seriously.
Is it airbrush? Is it wrapped?
Yes.
I mean, shit. The amount of people that sat there and tried to pick the wrap off of
Hey.
it.
Oh, it's the worst.
I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" They're
I
like,
was-
"It's wrapped."
Hey,
It's like,
why
no.
Why
it's
is
not
your
wrapped.
Why is your index knuckle the absolute the standard the test of the material?
I seen your guys.
Oh yeah, that's
I seen him this year. Your guys' truck and our truck were like almost in the same row. I never seen something more molested than your guys' truck.
Which one?
The blue and white one.
Oh yeah. Oh
The
my
one
God.
I seen you get in a pretty heated battle.
you crazy.
Oh, what a minute.
Listen, we had guys
Crazy.
literally on our bedsides at SEMA pushing up and down as hard as they could to see what the suspension, how much travel there was in the suspension.
Shit, we had people take the
They were
bedside and
opening
try
up
to
your
roll
guys'
it.
doors and getting in your truck.
For
Dude, we sat out there, and it's so glad we didn't act on it, because we're sitting there. I think Josh was out for a cigarette break, and we're shooting the shit, and I'm watching these guys. There's like 3 guys, and they're basically like disassembling the truck. Right, the hood's open, the doors are open. And I'm starting to get heated. Josh is this close to just having one of his like the
Breakout
fuck.
moments.
Yeah.
I know where you're going with
And
it.
as it turns out, so we took the high road. We're like, can we help you guys out with
Which is
something?
rare.
And the guy's like, oh, yeah, my name's such and such. You guys are building a bunch of chassis for me right now. I've been wanting to have you guys build me like one of these.
Maxwell, when he
Like,
walked up, you had to stop me.
Oh yeah. So we had Steve Watts walk up to the truck, which if anybody don't knows him, he's Maxwell Industries, builder of Speed Demon, probably the most decorated
Yes.
Bonneville car of all
Yeah.
time, right?
Just
So-
like did like I think it did like 80 or 90 miles an hour.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And we've been fortunate enough, which was pretty awesome. We met him at
Nebraska.
Nebraska Wheel Hub
Yeah.
Live,
Okay.
which
Yeah.
you guys were there in the Grand National, and we met him there. And so since then, we've done a lot. We've been able to work with them on a lot of really cool shit. Like we've built some awesome stabilizers, wheel pans, a lot of Bonneville stuff. We were part of Honda and KTM entered the whole circle dirt track racing. And so we built the first bodies for the Honda and KTM race team because of Maxwell Industries, but we met him. So it was pretty funny. So Steve Watts comes up, he's going around the truck and Ed don't know him. So he walks up to stop the guy like, hey, don't touch his truck. And I walk up to Ed and I'm like, hey, that's Steve Watts. He owns Maxwell Industries, who's builder Speed Demon and so on, and
Well, then he should fucking know better.
that's why I should know better. That's pretty much what he said. But that's another.
It's just the amount that got molested that weekend. It was bad. I mean, it just everybody. Is it a wrap? And they're like picking at it. I'm like, if it is a wrap, and you started peeling it, what are you gonna
fucked
do?
up.
It's
Right.
if
So
it's
you
not
put satin stripes on something. We stopped doing it because every shoe, it's just grab the corner of the stripe.
Stuff as you can.
Yeah.
Regardless if it's vinyl or paint, you're fucking it up either way. Like
if it's not a shiny exterior body panel that's in a factory color, the index or the thing has to touch it. Like just
be a
in
good car show critters.
remember 15 years ago when just the mat under the hood where it had to be
Yeah, is that plastic? You got to bang on it.
Right.
what the fuck's that?
Right.
Well, whatever it is, it doesn't need your fingers touching it.
What do you think the ratio of pickers versus knockers are on that truck?
Pickers versus knockers.
Yeah, dude, like a guy that's like they want to see if it's
On carbon fiber,
it's
it's going to be
knockers.
70%
It's
pickers.
it's knockers.
Knockers, man.
Knockers?
Knockers.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to figure out.
It's every
Because you can
'Cause
tell
they
the
think it's
difference between
wrapped.
metal and.
They legit think it's wrapped. Like nobody believes that that's an all carbon truck.
Yeah.
So they go around every
They have
panel.
no
They go,
idea it's hydro dipped.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
That's a
That-
big
fucking-
fucking tank.
That's
Took a long
awesome
time.
hydrogen ever produced.
I'd
you-
like to have $1 for every.
If you
every
had
knock.
somebody filming and you just lay a motherfucker out and that becomes a meme, they're gonna know.
Oh, yeah.
It's full carbon fiber. From then on out, everybody will know.
The best is honestly reading the comments of everybody else who's ever posted anything like Hot Rod or anybody else who posts something about the truck. I'm the guy. I don't care. I don't care what people say.
Joe says don't read the comments.
I just like to read the comments because of how comical some of them are, right?
Yeah.
And just well, that's a wrap. There's no way anybody built that truck that way.
Good
Or-
luck hauling a sheet of plywood in that piece of shit.
Right, that shit, and exactly, that's the shit they say. They have no clue about it, but it's no, it's worth. I like to read them. Just motivation sometimes.
Nobody was at Dino's get down except me and Laura.
Right.
And you talk about a swarming the truck. It was just all day long. And I love the Dino's get down. Don't get me wrong, but they let everybody in. It's free admission and stuff. And then between the kids and just everybody, it was.
They fucked the shit out of your
was
truck.
It did, man.
and I was trying to protect it a little bit, and I looked back at Laura and she's laughing, and I said, fuck it. I'll just come back and sit in the seat. Just let them have at it.
Hey, Adam, also known as Ed, will buff it out when we get
Yeah,
back.
sure.
But Ed
All year long.
can tell you the story when it come back in.
All year.
That's
long.
what it is now.
There's
Plenty of gel coat on it.
shit. There's
underneath there.
it came back and I'm like,
It's all red.
there's sticky shit all over this thing. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
They had ice cream.
Oh God.
I think
Sweet.
That's
at
how
the
it
end
looks
of the
now.
day, I think it's fathers that are to blame for most things because we blame everybody's dad here. We can pretty much blame for where we're at for forcing us to do the shit that we're doing, getting us into cars, right?
Yeah. Or
A lot of people like it's a dad thing to be like, son, here's how you figure out if it's got body filler in it.
Oh,
you
man.
walk up, and that to this day there's
it
probably
needs to be something.
Yeah.
Well,
Body filler
My son
magnet.
walks
Not
into
my
a car
dad.
and
Remember the
stands behind
magnets?
your back.
That
My
go to
dad's
the
like,
magnet gauge.
Take
Where
and
they
make
magnet.
sure everything's away from the side of the vehicle. Like look at it,
Yeah.
don't touch it. You don't know what people went through to make it.
well,
and
we have reached a time in the episode which is one of my favorite times, and for 3 years we've been doing this. This
You
is
gotta
one
go
of
to
the
the bathroom.
This is one of the most amazing times of every episode.
Is
And
it
this
time
is
to grab the third bottle of
this is Rod's time. This is yes. We do this segment every season, every episode. It's Rod's time. So we've talked about everybody's origin. We talked about all the cars. So I know that I met Rod with the white Chevelle. My first time that I remember ever meeting you was in Knoxville in SRA with the white Chevelle before you had built the ZR10,
Right.
right? And this was around the same the ZL, yeah.
The ZL1.
ZL1.
Call it the ZL1.
Okay.
Well,
sorry.
that's his truck before the ZR.
Yeah. Okay. So the milky color truck was ZL1.
Right. Correct.
It's letters.
But you're right.
So we've had like a bunch of whiskey. So give me a fucking break. And that was right after I met you.
Yes.
Right. So we talked. I see that truck come out in the next year after that. Now it's Rod's time, and I'm going to grab some more whiskey.
Yeah, we might as well get the last American medal.
Now, speaking of bourbon,
Now the goal here is to how much did you guys go through the Ring Brothers?
Not this much.
We've never killed 2 bottles.
well, they're two down.
You don't want to be Mike Ring level.
that was a great
one of my
episode.
favorite episodes, to be honest with
Hey,
you.
they're coming back on, but they're not allowed to drink for their wives.
Well,
Yeah, we're doing it in
That was awesome.
like another month.
we're gonna go visit them here
I
soon,
see.
and
There's been talks about drinking people under the table. I think Mike literally drank us under the table.
No, I think just Mike was drinking under the table.
but when we were at SEMA though, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
their wives
Yeah.
that grabbed us, pulled us back in at
They
your guys'
party harder than they do.
Oh, big time, man! It was
Hey,
that was a good time.
we're getting to the 10-year, right? So you liked the American Metal
Oh,
whiskey.
absolutely.
Now we're finishing this out because it's Rod's time.
It's Rod's time.
We're gonna go with something a little older.
Well, the first time I met Phil and you guys was at Knoxville. That's correct. And I actually was drinking maybe Blanche's or I forget what we had, and I offered you guys a drink. So you pass it up for a minute, and they're like, okay. And y'all come over, and we end up drinking a little bourbon or two there together. But yeah, it was great. But you want to go back to where I started, where I come from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I grew up on a farm. Typical car guy. Matchbox. Model cars. Always liked cars, as far as that goes. My grandfather, taught me how to wrench a little bit and stuff. And then moving on, y'all been talking about vocational school, stuff like that. I went to Votech for like 3 years throughout high school, ag mechanics, 2 power mechanics classes. And from there I opened up Zrodz Auto Repair. And I was 18 years old. And I'm not going to draw it out like Zach did. We'll try to. I'm a little older than Zach.
He took 2.5 hours on a 2-hour podcast.
Sorry.
He learned from Troy. He's the only guy that can bust a budget with no budget.
Like I said, I love Troy to death. I'm not going to mention him. Okay, but anyway, always a car guy, and opened up 2 years later when I was 20 years old. Opened up my car dealership. I got my D tags in and started retailing cars. Opened one car lot. 2 or 3 years later, opened another car lot. Built Rex before the word Carfax come. 4 or 5 years later, opened my first body shop. I mean, when I listen to you guys talk, I can relate to everything you're saying as far as the body shops and just the whole growing up in the car industry. And I got to the point where I was wholesaling cars. It's probably 10 or 15 years down the road. I'm gonna speed up. And we was up to doing 3,500. I always wanted to bust 4,000 cars a year. Never did do that, but we got close. The whole time growing up, I drag raced when I was young. That was back when, I'm an old guy. We street raced. It was a big deal. We little town 30 miles from us. We'd run down there and race from like to like. And, the cops was cool then. They just watched us and stuff. And, I growed up, doing all the normal car guy stuff, crazy stuff. And,
where did you grow up? The accent in New York, was it? Or where?
California.
That's close. That's close. West Virginia.
Okay.
Now, when you were doing all this, were you running auction stuff? Was Odessa around then and stuff like that?
Yeah, Odessa. And there was a couple sales close to us in Columbus, Ohio. It's called Columbus Fair Auto Auction. There was years. It was a big sale. I was the number one seller up there and stuff. And I'm not going to pat myself on the back. Back then in the 80s, it was like, I felt like people throwed money at me. It was that easy. And I'm proud of you guys, growing up now and been successful like you are and stuff. It's great. And Zach will tell you, I'm all about cheering everybody on, whatever I can to help somebody. I'm in on that. But, it was just a good time when I growed up. Now I look at it and I think, man, it was easy then. Honestly, compared to what you guys are in right now, it was easy. And, my hats, it's been a struggle getting to where I'm at as far as, having what I got. And I'm very thankful for where I'm at. But it all goes back to the cars. I made all my money in the car business and I just.
How long were you thinking about building a custom car?
Well, I built cars back when I was a kid. I graduated in '78, so that was back when the Trans Ams was coming out, stuff like that. And
Little Smoking Bandit.
Yeah, that's my movie, Smoking the Bandit.
Frog.
And then American Graffiti probably next, but yeah. So I went from there, just right into construction business, and when Advanced Auto Parts come out, started building those, and but I always liked cars, and when I got a little older, I got to where I got a little bit of money. I'm going to build some stuff, and I did. Nothing, on you guys' level or nothing, that compares to what we're doing nowadays. But I was proud of that stuff. We did car shows, little stuff. And then later on, y'all started out good guys. And, the Good Guys has always been good to me. You know, first show I went to, won like, you know, Muscle Machine of the Year, and just it went from there. And then later on in life, probably in 2015, I met Zach. And then
Where'd you meet Zach at?
I met him at Columbus, and I was building the ZL1 C10 then.
You were building it then,
Yeah.
and you met Zach.
Yeah, I went over there, and he
That was the CUDA year.
had the CUDA, and
You built the ZL1 yourself?
no, I had a gentleman named Greg Killen, and
Okay.
he actually lived in my area, Ripley, West Virginia, and he had moved to Virginia, and he had the truck actually, and I bought the truck.
So you're building the truck. You go to Columbus. You're looking at all the car show stuff. He's got the CUDA.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You got a basement I can hang out in?"
Which look,
I was more interested in the cats.
I got fuck that one. Never let get let down from there.
Yeah.
But just to mention though, like it was a deal. I was going to debut the CUDA for Street Machine of the Year that year, and I was late. And I was late by
Oh, I remember this.
like by 45 minutes. So I called Troy at the time, and I called Mark Bowler at the time, and I asked him.
I do remember that.
I asked him, "Hey, what do I do?"
We had the
here?
Mustang. I think we had the Mustang.
You did. There was a Mustang that year, and I said, "What do I do? I'm late." And they said, and Troy, you know how he is.
Oh,
Which
fuck
looking
them.
back, yeah, he's always say, he goes, "Fuck it," you know. He goes, "Fuck that award, fuck everything," and it's easy for him to say because he's got all of them,
Right.
So he goes, you come out and you park that motherfucker right by my trailer, and he goes, you let everybody fucking look at that thing, and then so that's what I did because I was late, and then good guys come up and say, "Hey, why didn't you enter this in the Street Machine of the Year?" Well, I was there the year before when Ring Brothers was late, and Ring Brothers was late, and everybody bitched. Right, because they brought a car in and they were late, and they're like, "What's the point of setting a time if we're going to let people in late?" And they won Street Machine of the Year.
Well,
that
they
year.
were senior citizens. They gave
they-
it
I get
a
that.
pass.
So I said, I did the
They
opposite.
showed up in a Buick Century.
I said, "Fuck it, I'll set it out there." Which I did, and truthfully, he was right. We pulled a lot of attention in. Because we weren't in Street Machine of the Year. The next year, Ed called us at the time, and Ed said, "Hey, you never entered that car in the Good Guys."
We got to back up.
And so he said, "Why don't you enter that in for Street Machine of the Year?" I said, "Okay." So I did. That was the same year you guys had Inferno there. And that was the same year I was working on, and I met Rod, which I'll let him take him over here, as I started working on Rod's truck.
Yeah, so I'm looking for like some kind of mirrors for the truck, you know, and come up. First time I seen him, talked to him. Of course, I like carbon fiber. We all like carbon fiber, and you know, I didn't know he'd been up all night and shit. And this guy, he stands up, and so you're sitting down, you get up, and I ask you about the mirrors. Said they're off a Mustang, you know, new model Mustang, and I kind of liked them and stuff, and he talked to me, explained the carbon fiber, went over things like that. And that was it. I was out there.
Yep.
You know? And
The dude keeps asking about my fucking basement.
I didn't say that.
he didn't tell me. He didn't say anything about cats. You know. And then so I don't.
When a theme starts, man, you gotta run it into the fucking ground.
Like it's like, fuck. I remember when Roach shot my basement. That's what I remember back.
Carbon fiber wall panels.
Yeah, right. Basement.
So that was in 2016.
16. Yeah.
Yeah, 16. So, you know how it is. You get on the road with each other. We're all showing the same cars. You know, we're all at the same places. So, next thing I know, we're at SEMA together.
Yeah.
He's got the CUDA.
We'll fucking start.
Yeah. And
We'll fucking start.
we're in line. Of course, Ed Caperton's there and shit. And
he's handling HRI shit.
yeah.
The fucking CUDA won't start.
He won't start.
We're all cool guy. Want to use the push button shit, you know?
I was gonna add.
Was it a Phantom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Phantom. So,
Dude, the only way to make you had to put your
motherfucker
actual actual anus.
Yeah. You did.
That was the only way to make it.
What the fuck? You
Hey,
know?
fucking Troy's awesome. Mark Bowler's awesome, and Jared has done some things.
Yes.
But that fucking Phantom thing.
Fuck that thing, man. It
It's
fucked
like
me.
finger in a butthole every time you have to fucking start a car.
Yes.
Am I right?
That's the only car that's ever been ejected from our shop. First of all, it was a free job, and I love I love Rob McGaffin.
Yep.
Yes, I do too.
Rob
Yeah.
McGaffin had that I don't know.
Oldsmobile.
It's
Yes.
a weird ass
Yeah,
car.
fucked him too.
And that was in it, right?
Yes.
And we would do things to the car, and it would be here. I'd be in the fucking car screaming. I'm trying to pull it. I'm tapping it.
Yes.
I'm banging it. I'm like, what?
No, 3 times semi-fast.
Yeah.
3 times semi-fast.
Okay.
I'd throw it in neutral, push it out of the shop.
You've got to pulse it.
Yeah.
Pulse it. Just pulse it.
You're tapping the button too many times.
Fucking straddle in the console.
My wife don't give me this many instructions.
So we're
obviously everybody.
CUDA when it fucking starts.
Everybody
okay?
that's used the Phantom knows that the CUDA would never start.
Not start.
Unless you use your anus.
So I get out.
car show.
And he's the only person. He's the only person out of the whole line of cars that literally jumps out and runs over to me
That helps you out.
and says, "What can I do to help?"
Yeah.
Truthfully.
And,
Wow.
and Caperton saying, "Get your ass back in
and
the
it's
car."
like, fuck him. Go.
That's what it
Fuck
is.
that dude. He was late at Columbus. Let's go. He's late everywhere he goes.
And this story gets better because I'm the alternate.
Yeah,
you know?
so he's the alternate in front of me.
He's like, yeah, fuck him. I'm going in the banquet.
Right, he's going, I'm going.
Anybody that knows anything about HRIA and SEMA knows that the alternate only goes to the banquet if an asshole like you can't bank the car.
The Phantom switch don't work.
Their asshole.
Right, using their asshole.
The Phantom, can you still purchase the Phantom Switch, or is it?
Wish has got
That's
him.
gone.
Yeah, I think Wish has got him for sure.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah, it's a Phantom with like a hyphen on the end
Really?
of it. Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that exists anymore.
yeah.
So the only
That's bullshit.
the only reason I was but anyway, the only reason I ended up being the alternate was because I was coming to SEMA, and Ed Caperton and John McLeod,
Yes.
of course, they knew I was coming.
And Rick Love.
And Rick Love.
If John's there,
Rick's over there.
Rick's in tow.
When
I love those guys.
I do too. Hey, a state. I love those guys.
Rick's gonna kick your ass.
That's why I said that.
And John calls me. He goes, "You got that truck on the trailer?" I said, "Yeah." And I was coming from Colorado across, And anyway, so I ended up being the alternate. I said, "Hell, it gets me in SEMA,
Yep.
And then when I try to help him, and I get over there, and then one guy from California, I forget who he is now, he said, "Man, you're the alternate. Hell, if that guy don't make it in, you're in good shape." And I'm like, whatever, And of course, you end up pulling in a couple hours later or whatever.
Yeah, I never figured how to bypass the Phantom switch.
But
The thing is, I took over from Ed, right? When Ed moved on and I took over on
I'll tell you
HRI.
what, I still hold that against you.
Yes, no, I do too.
I have a hard time to this day looking at you, because every time I look at you, I see.
Oh, do you?
I see
You're gonna.
I see that HRA
I see that
tag.
collared
Josh
shirt
Henning.
with that. Yes,
Right.
exactly right.
You better be real careful.
Are you gonna
Well,
wear it
hey,
to work?
listen though. I got
I'm
into
gonna
SEMA.
send you home.
I got into SEMA one year. I will say I'll give him credit.
There
Okay.
were some plays made,
Listen.
and you better be real careful.
So I brought my own Camaro one year to I did a 71 split bumper, a red one that I did with a customer of mine, and
Yeah,
I did
it had fucking DSE suspension.
it did.
Yeah.
But
Badass car.
it was a nice car.
Right.
We did it together for road tours. Okay, so I did it. I built it. We bought it together. It was one of the deals. I'm building a 56 Chevy for this guy right now. and we built this car together. So we would to do road tours with it. And I was going to SEMA, and what was funny was I had to go through him to get in. Mm-hmm. At that time, because
first question I asked, what suspension it has under it?
I know.
So how about be careful?
Yeah, but
how about being real careful?
I don't know if you were there at that time. Were you?
That's a Red Bull.
Were you?
There's a Red Bull, right?
A cigarette.
Might have been.
No, he's inside, so there's no cigarette.
So what happened was
the fourth Red Bull in.
I got thrown over by the drifter cars. I'm like, I ain't fucking parking.
I didn't have that. No, that wasn't me.
I ain't fucking parking here.
Yeah, it's a quick shift of blame.
Yeah. And so
that one wasn't me.
I was like, I got to be somewhere else. So then HRIA at that time and John was like, hey.
And Rick Love
said, let's reach out to Josh and see if we can get you in. I'm like, I'm fucked. You know, at that time.
we took care of it though, didn't we?
No, you took care of it. He was like, you know what? He builds an okay car. We'll let him in. So we let him in, and we brought the Camaro there. So I started liking you at that point.
Well, I appreciate it. I get
that point.
My face is still this way it is, but
he still uses that badge to get everywhere.
Does he?
SEMA.
No, my thing, like just backstory. We try to let a little bit of light behind the curtain every episode. On the HRI thing, the whole like alternate thing, right? There's gonna be somebody that doesn't crank.
Yeah.
But for everybody that knows, do you realize that it's like 600 feet from where we're at during the show to get in the thing? And I was always kind of like,
you can get fucking the starter.
Fucking push it.
Right.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I don't care if you crank or not. These are the cars that are going in. All you cars, we're going in there. Well, there can only be 6. Well, it's like 100,000 square foot. So, a seventh isn't really going to hurt. And it was always such a thing. Like, what if one doesn't crank? They'll push it in. I don't give a fuck.
I was proud because you chose me.
Yeah.
I went in, and that was when the first. I won't get into that when everything started.
Yep.
Which you had talked about, which why we're here today.
Yep.
And so we got through it through communication.
You guys aren't going to hug and kiss or anything, are you?
No, it's your
he's
turn.
coming to my fucking basement. We ain't doing that shit on a fucking podcast.
He built trains, man.
I got HO class.
He's got mountains and like an ocean scene.
I buy liquid smoke. I buy liquid smoke by the 5 gallon.
By the fucking pallet.
Hey, as long as you got the train conductor hat, that's all it takes, man.
If there's anybody listening that knows anything about model trains, are dying laughing.
Hey, if you like Hudsons and retractable hard tracks and trains, this is the podcast you listen to.
Oh, you got a PP?
I do. Yeah.
We can take a 5
if we need to. I mean,
since he's leaving.
All right, now we can talk shit about it.
Because to be honest with you, Phil
always gonna piss me off.
Phil of all people was the first person I've ever run into in this industry.
That you did?
Yes.
Really?
Tell us about it.
Phil can be an asshole.
I'm gonna tell you.
We all know.
Yeah. No, and he was an asshole.
Of course he was.
So,
son of a bitch.
We were at Indy Good Guys. Okay, I'm gonna tell you real quick before he gets back. Indy Good Guys.
I know what he was doing at
Indy Good Guys. I had that Charger there. Okay, I had the Charger there.
Bull.
The Charger I built.
Yeah.
And I was with Charlie Hutton with PBG.
Yeah.
So me and Charlie together, we're bullshitting, and put the Charger was out there. It was out there in Builder's Pick. So, you guys are out there. You guys walk pack Builder Pick. You pick your Builder's Pick. Anyways, at that night, we were in a bar somewhere at Indy, and you guys were there. Phil was there, and so was Brett from Ride Tech, and it's Supernova that was built, right?
Yeah.
So, it was an awesome car, and it was totally mistaken. Okay, totally mistaken. I was there, and a buddy of mine was there, and we were talking about Supernova, and Phil was there drinking at the bar.
I'm gonna take up for Phil because he's like me and he'll talk a lot.
He probably don't know this. So we were talking about Supernova, and Phil was sitting at the bar, and Phil looks up and goes, "Well, I built that car," and a buddy of mine goes, "Dude, that fucking car's a spaceship."
Oh, you're talking about Innovator then?
Yes.
Okay.
What? Am I missing?
I thought you were talking about his vocal. You said Brett, and I know they did that Nova. I forget the name of it.
But wasn't your guys a Supernova?
Innovator.
Oh, is
The
it
white
Innovator?
one?
Yeah, the
Yes, the white
67.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a love it or hate it.
Yes. No. I like the car. I like the car. Innovator. I'm sorry. And anyway, so we made a comment of it was a spaceship.
Yep.
Fuck, Phil got so pissed. I mean, pissed.
Oh yeah.
He goes up and goes, "What the
Fuck
fuck
you say?
He goes, literally, that's what he said. He goes, "What the fuck you say?" And my buddy goes to me. He goes, "That's a spaceship, man." And he meant in a good way. And Phil goes, "What the fuck you saying?" And he got pissed, right?
Dude, it's just it's honestly.
So he don't know this to this day, and I won't say this. So I stand up and I'm like, he stands up to go like chest bump my buddy,
Hey.
and I'm like, hey man,
I'm just gonna tell
like-
you right now, it ain't no potentiometer. It's a
about
fucking
it.
toggle.
and I'm like, hey man,
It's a
it
on
was
or
a
off.
compliment. He goes, no man, he was talking shit, and I'm like, no dude, he was just talking about it's a spaceship as in like the technology level. He was talking shit. He was pissed all the way to the point that Brett
You're
stands
gonna,
up
have
and is
to,
like,
you're gonna have to listen to the episode live.
and Brett's like pushing us apart. In Indy. He's like, hey guys, come on, we're all here.
And then he
we're all
passed
same
out.
level. Yeah. And Brett was fucked up too. And we were fucked up at the time.
I didn't think Brett drank
Yes.
that much.
No, he did. He was. And then I'm like, hey man, this is all good stuff I'm talking about. He said, no man, he's talking shit about that car. And I'm like, no dude, we're all talking about good stuff here.
It just sometimes it just happens at like the most inopportune times,
It does.
or somebody maybe causes it, right? Like
No,
for
completely.
me for example,
Completely.
our most recent check-in at that was Columbus, maybe not 2 years ago because you weren't there last year. We check in and I'm doing something stupid, right? I'm not super stoked about the guy that's checking us in. So
Which one? Which store are you going?
this is the one where I said something to the guy and then he got all fired up.
This is not the ID thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, then he was there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was there.
Yeah.
I don't remember what transpired, but
Oh, I do. Would you like me to tell it?
Please do. You tell the story.
I know the story
Okay.
from the start to finish.
But it kind of goes along with what you're saying, how these things can happen.
Like I said about it's not a potentiometer,
No.
right? Anybody that's in the industry listening, they know exactly. This is a Phil Gerber right here. It's a toggle.
Oh yeah,
Right?
I get it. I get it now.
There ain't,
I get it now.
What did I miss?
there ain't
This,
nothing.
we talk shit about you.
There ain't
No, Zach talked shit about you.
there ain't nothing in between.
Not in a bad way.
Right?
Keep going.
So
We'll get
we're-
to the point.
We go to Columbus. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. We get there a little late, like we generally do the night before. Once we get there late, we're already late. You know what the best, most adult decision is? Let's hang out in the parking lot with our bags at our feet and drink a little bit. That makes perfect fucking sense. So we do that.
Breeding has a cooler with a temperature
Yeah. So
on the fucking dash.
so we're drinking.
Most awesome, Jesse and Jeff all the time. Hands
Just
down.
a little car show. Just general traveling advice. Just traveling advice.
Check in before midnight.
Yes.
Check in before midnight
Yes.
because if you're checking in at 1 a.m., technically that's the next day.
Yes.
Even though you've
Might
had
not be there.
your room might not be there. It's very difficult. I love all of our hardworking hospitality workers.
I don't.
However, Phil loves them until he doesn't love them, right? So we go in. It's probably 1:15 in the morning. Columbus, Crown Plaza, Host Hotel,
Yep.
right? Not too long ago. We're in there. We're having a good time. We're all laughing. The whole crew, right? We've all got our rooms. We go to check in. Jeremy goes to check in first. He tells him his name, right? There's an individual behind the counter that's
There's unisex bathrooms for a reason.
it's overly
out there.
if
Everything that
If
2024,
Yeah.
roll everything 2024 together.
The
that's-
browser
I
guy.
love the Ring Brothers, but if the Ring Brothers would have built a man and put all the things on a man, right?
and then merge it, and then build a woman.
And then build a woman and
merge them
also
together.
build it into one
there, right?
person,
Yeah.
right? All the things. He's super extra. He's got all of it, right? So he's getting out there, right? And he's going through the thing. There's confusion about the name and the date and the rooms and the stuff. Finally, we got there, and he's being obviously a little extra with it. I don't know how to else to say it in 2024.
That's a good way to say it.
So he hands the ID back to Jeremy. So Jeremy he had partaken of some bourbon for quite a while. So he's a little drunk, and he's trying to show me and
anything to do with that. Doesn't add anything to the story.
I think it slowed your judgment a little bit, right? So he's looking at me and Phil like he's going to do something funny. The guy hands back his ID, and he looks at me and Phil and like does the wipe off the ID thing, right?
Well,
like well, it's obvious that I don't want to touch the thing that he just handed back to me. But the guy's never changes eye contact. He's watching the entire thing while Jeremy's making a show to me and Phil. So he's pissed instantly. Phil's next. So he goes, so the hospitality worker is now pissed based on what Jeremy did. He's laughing, doing his whole thing. Phil's got to check in. Now, instantly, he's not extra anymore. Now he's pissed off. He goes to check in. He checks in him. He says something, Phil's like, thank you. And he says something like no, thank you, Mr. Gerber. And in a way that, again, it's not a potentiometer. It's not an adjustment. It's a light switch. He flipped Phil's light switch. And the instant thing was, the fuck you say? And when you were telling me the story about the innovator, I knew that the question that Phil asked was, the fuck you say?
Yeah, that's what he said. He goes, what the fuck you say? Right to me. Right to me. That's what he said. He goes, what the fuck you say?
That's
just like that.
It's an honest question.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I didn't think anything about
I've
it.
got two that I resort to.
The guy,
But I'll be honest with you, Phil.
that guy didn't have an answer though.
No, he said,
He was speechless.
Yeah, I said, thank you, Mr. Gerber.
It's like, no,
It was.
enjoy your stay.
My
Enjoy.
first with the innovator was my first run-in with you guys. Was you stepped out was with you, of all things, and it was a reality check because you stepped up and said, "What'd you say?" Because I was talking about the Nova, but I was talking about a good way about it.
He's talking indie like 2012.
I hope everybody
was
fucking
2012.
learns that we don't fucking play. That's
No, it was.
That's
it
fucking.
was-
That's the lesson of the day.
It was a.
Lesson is,
You and
do not
I,
fuck with
be
Phil.
honest with you, that's how long ago it was. You and I were like face to face, and Brett from Ride Tech
This is indie good guys.
separated us. That's how long ago that was.
It's me?
Yeah,
You sure?
I swear it was you.
This guy.
It was. It really was
Do you
you.
remember that?
I don't. No.
No,
not
you
at all.
don't.
Yeah, we did. In Phil's defense, we used to party pretty fucking
No,
hard.
I know it was because the next day I was
Hard.
pissed. I was pissed. I was so pissed off because you guys were picking the Bills' choice.
Oh.
You guys, yes.
But also,
Yeah,
Phil
so-
didn't remember the night before. So.
I don't remember that.
I had that
It never-
Charger there,
Yeah.
and you guys walked right past it and didn't fucking look at it.
He said, "What,
And I was like-
what the fuck did you say?"
I was like literally like, "Fuck that motherfucker," you know. And I was blaming Phil, not you, Jeremy. I was blaming Phil at that time.
That's my fault.
Man, dude, you know, we got off on the wrong foot.
No, we did, we did, and going way back, which we won't start this because we started at it's
It's Rod's time.
Rod's turn, but
Hey,
I fucking said something.
Zach.
originally
Zach
when
takes
I
a lot of
you
Rod's
guys,
time.
Yeah.
I thought of Bill.
He don't get
Yes,
the weed.
and I told you guys that.
Yeah. Fucking Bill.
When you guys got together, yes, I thought of
I
Bill
was thinking
because
about Bill when he brought the garnish moldings.
yes,
That's what I was thinking too.
my early years of you guys was Bill completely.
Yeah.
Nothing
Sorry.
of you guys. Nothing of you guys.
That's a tough reputation.
It was. But I'm starting like 06,
Yeah,
We were
04. 04, so
04.
prior to 04.
Yeah, no, it was probably 04.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was, yeah.
truthfully, it was probably 04. I say 06, but it's probably 04. And I think of Bill. And that's when I say how important communication is communication solves a lot of bullshit. And I was misled on a lot of things about you guys because of Bill, not because of you guys, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I learned a lot from Bill the main thing I learned is you can't call somebody a fuckhead. Not a customer. You can't call a customer a fuckhead.
I get it.
Because
Not even like with
and
like
the other
joy.
thing that I heard, and you can explore this via these mics right here, that you can hear me right here, right? And you can also hear me. You can still hear me from here? All right, so that would be something that he'd be standing in the front office with this like shitty little showroom, and a customer would call, like asking about their chassis or something, and he'd be on the phone. It was, you know, old school, connected to corded phone sitting there. And he'd be, what the fuck? What'd you? Huh?
Yeah.
What? Huh? What? And then he'd take the phone a little bit away and this fuckhead. Can you believe this fuckhead? This fucking guy. And he'd go like just start going on and on and on. And then, hello?
My question is, when's the last time you guys talked to him to where you're at now?
Well, he passed away.
Yeah, I know. But before he passed away, did he see what you guys made it to what it is now?
So the story with that, I worked for him, you know, for a couple of years.
And me and you, I owned a car you worked on.
What was that?
Eric Medlin's car.
Oh, yeah. That was just post him.
Yes.
So he passed away in 2003.
Yes.
And I mean, he never. So we took the company over right after that.
Yep.
You know? So,
I personally own the car you built that chassis for.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is, ain't it?
Gibbons Viper body.
It
right?
was a Gibbons Viper. It was a Viper
33?
body.
Yeah.
I own that car, and that car's sitting in storage to this day. It's sitting in storage.
Yeah.
And me and Ed worked on that car.
That's got to be worth at least more than it was.
No, but here's what's cool about the hot rod industry. Before we even knew each other or worked on the same product, you worked on that chassis and built that chassis for that car before I owned it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's the first time I met Bill at that time. And like I told you, I was working.
How was that experience? Walk me through that experience.
It wasn't well. And that, unfortunately for me, made who laid the foundation
right,
who you guys were.
We had a lot of
groundwork
damage control for the first.
Yes.
It's
It was.
unfortunate
5 years
because it's he's a guy, like I have a lot of respect for him because I work for him, right? And he taught me a lot, and I learned a tremendous amount from him. So I can't talk shit about him because I learned
Absolutely.
so much. But at the same time, I learned a lot about what you shouldn't, how you shouldn't communicate with people, how you shouldn't talk to your fucking customers. But he did not build a great relationship with anybody, I mean, the reputation was brutal.
But I think that's what's neat about what we have is because before all this, there was a history before we knew it was a history. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy, yeah.
It really was.
It's wild.
Before I knew you, I owned the car
that
you built the chassis for.
Yeah, that's wild.
You personally.
Yeah, I would have actually built that.
For Eric Medlin.
Like physically built the chassis myself.
You physically built the chassis for
the roll
that.
pan. I went back and forth with him a whole bunch on like designing the roll pan and how he wanted it.
Because before I bought Eric's car from Eric at that time, because I was working on his funny car at that time before he passed away, and I did work on a motorcycle he was building. So I custom painted his motorcycle for partial trade of just money towards buying his car at the time. And that was a Gibbons Viper body that you built the chassis for.
Yeah. That car
Dude, do you have any idea what the thing's worth? Whatever somebody would pay for it.
Less than what it was.
Whatever anybody would pay.
But that thing was crazy because that was the first time we put big wheels. They're torque thrusts.
Yeah, no, they were. They were torque
20s
thrusts.
and 17s.
They were.
Goodyear rear tires?
I think
Yeah,
it would have
fire
been a radial
yes.
CA.
KDW.
KDW.
Yep.
Yes.
KDW rear tires?
That was the flame pattern.
Yeah.
It was the flame pattern one.
Oh,
exactly.
the BF Goodrich.
Yes, be a good range.
BFG.
Yes.
But the
Yes.
three of them, me,
KDW.
Phil, and Chad, I remember we were all standing back
Yes.
and looking at that like that was
That was the future.
We were fucking Boyd Coddington at that
Right.
point.
Yes.
Like we put that together, we put these big wheels and we were like, whoa. Here we are. Here
Yes.
look out. Look out, hot rod industry. Like,
And see,
You got to start somewhere, right?
and that's what I think is awesome now, to be honest with you, it's like Sean Davis texted me today, and I'm not sure the tour he's doing, which is coming through your place and coming through Troy's and our place. I look back at that now and I realize, like, man, that's fucking badass. Like, we have a lot of hot rod industry before we knew the history of what we're at now, right?
Yep.
And that was from that car and before. And I drew my conclusion of you guys, like I told you before, was from where I met you from doing that car and before, you know, like from the Pete's car.
Yeah. Yeah, those are tough ones to judge.
They are.
Son.
They are.
For sure.
And
In our younger days.
which I'm guys, truthfully, I'm thankful for where we're at right now.
Oh, 100%. Man.
I really am.
And I'm thankful where we're at, but where we came from, like that fiberglass 33, I can vividly remember it. It was a game changer for us.
Yep.
Way back then, that was a huge deal to put a 20-inch torque thrust, have the opportunity to put that on the back of a car. And we stood back and looked at that thing like it was a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, it was next fucking level.
And that was, what's crazy, that was my car, you know, at that time.
That's cool.
That I was working with Eric at that time because I was into the whole racing industry, and I bought that car from him. And to look back to now, that's like I said, it's everything happens for a reason, and everything's meant to happen, and everything happens right now the way it is. And to be with you guys with developing our chassis to the split ray, to the truck, to the Camaro. I mean, everything's just like we went to before, where you choose who you work with in the industry for a reason, and that's the reason why you work with them.
100%.
So, and American Metal is pretty badass.
Dude, it's a great plug for American Metal. I think we're lining them up. That's the first podcast that we've
bottles.
We can't finish the podcast until we kill the third bottle, because that will triple
that
the
bottle.
record. It will triple the record.
That's all I want to do. So when you call Mike and Jim, you can say, "Hey, Zrodz are on," and they drink 3 fucking bottles.
But
I don't know if you want to one up Mike. I'm going to be honest.
yeah,
Wow.
but that's a great story
Hey,
too, because you look at these dudes. I mean, he's had a hell of a career, right?
Unbelievable.
And what he's doing now, I mean, it's
And
badass.
you know what's awesome about those guys is, just like Mike, I was a little sore about the Street Machine of the Year deal, and Mike called me, and those guys called me, and they taught me through everything. Like, hey, and that's what's funny is how bent out of shape we get about shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. We lost Street Machine of the Year. My fucking life's over. The shop's done. We fucking lost it. No, Mike calls me and he's like, "Hey, dude, it's all right. Just breathe. It's okay." You know, and that's what people
fax you.
Yes, that's what people don't understand about the whole industry is how everybody is with each other.
Well, dude, those guys, I mean, we like to bust their balls, Mike and Jen. I love them, but the truth is that they're great fucking mentors.
Unbelievable.
I mean, very great fucking mentors. I love those dudes.
Down to earth. You can drink and get drunk with them. Feel like they're your friends. At the end of the day, when I say the relationships mean more than anything, when you call those guys friends, it means something.
Yeah.
Period. And then when they call on you for a job, that's when it's like, okay, you're gonna deliver the product that they're asking for. Just like you guys. You deliver the chassis that they need. You know, we make the dash for I don't know what the truck, the
Jimmy, the
Chevy Love.
the fuck that, what's the truck they call?
It's a little dash. It's
Enya?
Enya.
Oh,
yes. So we make some parts for Enya, right?
That's a weird name.
Yeah.
It is.
Inya.
So we make some parts for Enya. We
It happens
It also happens in the basement.
in the basement, yeah.
and they they're those guys that, like,
literally, we're like, hey, Friday, we're going to drive and go see them. And then I'm like, hey, where do we stay? They're like, don't worry about where you're going to stay. You're going to stay with us.
Yeah.
They're going to put you up. They're going to lodge you.
You stay at Jim's farm?
Yes.
Dude, his farm is sick.
Yeah.
Listen, I hate to be the adult, right? But perfect segue from the Jim and Mike Ring Brothers. There's been 2 episodes in 3.5 seasons, right?
Yes.
We're 3 bottles in.
I know.
So Ring Brothers are the only ones that have
Were we in 2-bottle territory?
they've outdrank us. Now the other episode was Courtney Hansen, where we got fucking shit faced. That
dipped into the tequila.
Yeah.
I got some questions about that one later.
Number 2, second episode, Courtney Hansen in studio, we got fucking hammered.
Yeah, we did.
So we're rapidly approaching the combination of the Ring Brothers and Courtney Hansen episode where everybody in this room is fucking shit faced.
I'm pretty drunk.
And we haven't finished Rod time.
We were trying to. We haven't reached the point where like you guys have merged.
You guys have met.
Which is most important.
You guys have met. You talk. You've got the truck. You've got the CUDA. You got stuff. So where the fuck did you like? You know what would be cool is this guy that can't crank his car build me a carbon fiber truck,
right? That's fucking perfect.
I had reservations. Trust me. So
don't put the Phantom.
We're at SEMA, okay. Of course, we're outside where the tram runs through, and there's 7 of us out there, and so I'm there the next day. Of course, I'm proud of my truck. I built it, and
it's a badass truck.
We're out there, and I'm talking shit to everybody and enjoying it. I mean, it's like, I don't know, 11 o'clock. Zach, he's not around. Of course, I don't, at that point, I met him a couple times, Here comes the SEMA judges, right?
Zach's talking to Mark Bowler trying to figure out why the thing won't fucking crank. So he's busy.
And here comes the SEMA judges. His car's covered. And they're like, they come around to me like, the guy that owns this car? I said, yeah, I know him. Well, do you know where he's at? I'm like, I don't have his number or anything, which I didn't. And well, we can't look at his car with the cover on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at it. It won't crank. You look at my truck. It's fucking badass.
So
right.
Me and Greg's there and a couple of us there, and I look around at everybody and we're like, so I pull the cover off this guy's car? And everybody's like,
it's a fucking car.
That's up to you, man.
Yeah, it's a judge.
And I'm like,
Adam, fucking bump it out.
In the back,
this is gonna last forever.
I'm a fucking pro, man. Even drunk, I can fucking pull them out.
In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, hell, I'm the alternate, right? So what's gonna happen here, But I would have pulled the cover off, but I didn't know Zach that well then. So you wouldn't have pulled the cover off my truck if you guys was there.
Fuck that. I'm gonna be honest.
It's a car cover. I'd have yanked it off.
I would have yanked the motherfucker off for any of you guys. Okay. If the judges were around and they're gonna judge your car, I would have yanked the fucking cover off for any of you guys.
I'd have told her to quit being a fucking pussy.
Okay?
Pull the fucking car cover off. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I'm just noting that.
Yeah, I've gotten caught in that situation a few times where I've walked judges through guys' cars. You've been sitting there and they're like, they're walking around. You're like, oh, well, I know how to navigate this thing.
So let me tell you all the fucked up shit.
But I got a pretty good idea of where they stash the trunk release. Like how to open this hood.
Either behind the driver wheel or the passenger wheel, or in the tag.
Yeah, I try to be helpful.
Yes, you try to be.
I would have. Hey, you're honestly. You're a better person than all of us because I'd have yanked the fucking cover.
Whoa, come on.
He honestly, he's a better person.
Don't give him that.
We've seen that.
I was close, but I said, no, I'm not going to do it. So you was going for Battle of the Builders that year.
He fucked me. In the end, he fucked me. Okay?
So later.
Which is okay.
So I go on that year and we win Jim Design Award.
Yep.
And
but anyway, so you got to be there at 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
on a fucking,
all
they
that
call you
shit.
at midnight. Before.
Yeah, you're gonna be there at 4:10 a.m.
And the truck did good all year, and But you know, that was the second deal with Zach. He come up there and he's got these sunglasses on. He's been drunk all night or whatever, you know. And I'm thinking, hell, I got up early. You know, I come out. Hell, he should have been out there, right, and pulled his cover off.
I was there.
No, you wasn't. You wasn't there like.
No, I was fucking there.
No, you wasn't there like.
And then I went to Hoover Dam because they told me.
You was at SEMA, but you wasn't.
But they told me. Come on.
Did you get the old 9th green at 9?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. See?
Anyway, let's move on. He didn't win. He didn't win Battle of the Builders that year. You know,
no,
because your car cover is on. Because you didn't get out of bed and take a thing off. Simple as that.
Where did you guys ink the deal? Where was this?
Well,
we're in a.
You know where we're at, SEMA.
Anyway, we're there at SEMA. And he showed me all this shit he's doing. Right. You know, it's cool stuff. It really is.
I was trying to sell you.
He said, "I'll show up early if we build a carbon fiber truck."
I'll be here first thing.
He's got his phone out. He's showing me all his shit, you know, and it's cool stuff. And
you realize I interviewed with Boyd Coddington.
I've had a lot.
That's a big deal.
Street runner.
I've had a lot of employees over the year and stuff, so I can read people. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like,
it's a skill.
I'm like, this kid's got a little something going on. I mean, I really felt that way, and I just kind of left it at that.
70% creativity, 30% autism.
I didn't ask you about
30% debatable.
I didn't ask if you like cats or anything, but
the fuck, man.
You're second guessing yourself now, aren't you?
I am really. But anyway, so.
He brought cats up.
So anyway, I think, okay, I got my truck and I'm on the autocross so I can beat Phil and shit.
I'll be honest with you guys.
He's a sniper.
A lot of what we did was 100% against you.
I'm telling you what, this goes down the greatest fucking episode. He's a sniper. I don't know who killed Osama bin Laden, but
he told me, I don't care what we do, I'll spend, I don't care how much money, but we're gonna beat Phil in the road.
All right, so keep rolling.
That's not true, but anyway.
No,
so,
it's true.
It might be. But anyway, so probably we get back from SEMA and time goes by, and I talked to him there. I said, "Man, where's your shop at? And maybe I'll come up and check you out or whatever." And I thought we talked about the carbon fiber a little bit, and I want to do the wing, and I had the exhaust port and stuff.
We did a bunch of different stuff for the car,
and I needed a cage too and stuff. And I was going to Ride Tech, and of course, me and Brett's friends, and I went to Ride Tech. And they did some stuff on the truck, shocks, and we did some trunnions, bearings. I don't know what. But anyway, Brett bent a hoop up for me on roll cage and stuff. Anyway, to end up taking the truck to Zach, and I said, "Hey, let's go ahead and do what we talked about at SEMA," which we talked about the wing and exhaust ports and doing the cage in it, and took it up there. And, I mean, you guys haven't been there, but I mean, the shop is just, it's amazing. I mean, when you guys get there, you're going to like what you see, I promise you. But anyway, so I go up there. I'm pretty impressed with the shop. Special ed's there. I call him Special Ed.
God.
Yeah.
Call me Adam.
Now the name just coming out. You're fucked. Forget about Adam.
I love this. This is a fucking train wreck. It keeps happening.
Special Ed.
I don't want to give my age away, but I had a special ed that worked for me for 35 years. So when I go up there and meet Zach and Ed's there, I was like, hell, no special ed, man. Here we go. But so he does the carbon fiber, and he does his typical hockey stripe like he does. I mean, you can pick up anything he works on. It's got that hockey stripe on it.
No. You asked me to do a fucking stripe on that truck. And that's what you asked me for.
Yeah, I did.
You asked me for do a stripe on the truck.
Right, that's correct. And a hockey stripe. It wasn't that bad.
I did a fucking stripe on
I
the
didn't
truck.
say hockey stripe. I said a stripe.
You said make a stripe for that truck.
And
Any-
you're like, how about a hockey stick?
So anyway, the truck turns out good, and we go on. I show it. I go for Street Machine of the Year,
Which was the same
That's-
year that Inferno ran.
and I beat Phil Inferno at the
Yeah,
autocross track.
and
Yeah.
just so you know,
Who won the award?
that was his only. That was his only passion. Was to run a faster time than Phil at the Roser shop.
It was my first time driving that car.
Although you
That's
guys, so you know, you won Street Machine of the Year.
That's how Ed Caperton, whoever was announcing, that's how they come off. It's like, well, Rod Parsons, the ZL1C10, did win the autocross, but in defense for the Roadster shop and Phil, he had been racing before, which was incorrect. I had been to Nashville, run 2
Yeah, but
laps,
you
and the thing was puking everything. I
Yeah,
come
you
in.
wanna. You were running a square body at that time.
It has our orange and white C10. Probably.
Yes, you were.
But
And
So
honestly,
assuming that,
in your
that probably
defense,
won whatever it was.
yes, he was winning about everything at that time.
I don't know.
It's no Miata.
But what? No, you did. You did win.
If you learn, tell you what, if you learn on a Miata, you can fucking drive anything. He did.
Did you just go there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the orange
so-
C10
so-
is a bit dominant.
No, it was dominant at that time.
so
Right, for a steel truck.
yeah.
No, it was. It was.
Made out of metal. You could knock on it with a fucking knuckle.
Kick it.
It was.
So back to what Phil said, you all did win an award, and congratulations on that. I got beat again, but so we went on, and it continued after that. My ass whooping did. So, so we go on to not the Triple Crown, but what's it called then?
Pigeon forward shades.
Yeah, Shades of the Past. We go on to Shades of the Past. We get up there, and there sits that damn yellow Camaro, and I got my truck there. We're going for
I was there for that one.
yeah,
You guys weren't there.
yeah,
I was running the yellow Camaro then.
yeah. The yellow, the
Shades.
the Inferno was there.
You guys were not there.
You guys wasn't. It was you.
It was me.
That's right. So we get there.
Me and Tony.
Tony.
Hey now.
So we get up there, and I'm like, shit. I'm going for Street Machine again against you guys, and I'm thinking, shit, Roadster shop, and really in defense, the Inferno was a lot more truck or a lot more car than what I had truck, and so I got to beat again there. But later on after that, I sold the truck, went on and won a lot of awards with it and stuff, but sold the truck, and then stayed in touch with Zach throughout the next year or two, and I ended up talking to Zach. I think that's when the Cougar come around.
Yeah.
Zach had an idea about building a Cougar, and so we started on that, a 70 model Cougar fastback, which we haven't got it done yet.
Man, he's into some weird shit.
Oh, he is, man. He gets way out there sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he goes from a CUDA to a Cougar. I mean,
Yeah, he's got demons. He's got to work out.
All the basements.
he likes cats too, man.
I'm telling you what, fucking baseball player. I'm guessing right now the position he played in my head.
Shortstop.
You're thinking shortstop.
Shortstop or third base.
I'm
you
thinking
get
first.
this.
I'm thinking first base myself.
No.
He's not a pitcher.
Pitcher.
Really?
Pitcher.
Yeah. So anyway, I told we got in that Cougar build, and I mean it's all good and shit, and I'm like, I want to build a truck, and I'm a truck guy. I learned to drive on a '67 Chevy truck with my grandpa, and just always have loved a '67 Chevy truck. I like the front end on them, and anyway, speeding up. I told Zach, I said, "Listen, I want to build. I built the ZL1C10, and it did really good. I got my ass kicked by you guys twice, and that's fine." So
He did beat your ass.
yeah, I did beat.
So we won it.
Yeah, we're up one.
So anyway, Zach's like, you know, okay. And and that's at the point where I said, you know, I'm interested in getting in the industry, you know, and I've always dreamed of, you know, like back to that shit of the Hot Rod magazine. That shit's all cool. And when I was little and I was growing up, it's like, okay, man, it'd be cool to be in the magazine or in a magazine, period. And then, you know, you start in that shit. And it's like, okay, I got in this magazine, I got in that magazine, you know. You kind of get numb to that shit a little bit. You
Zach, I got this idea of turning a big fortune into a small fortune. Can you help?
I got a bunch of money I got to turn into not a lot of money.
Let's pile up some money and just light it on fire.
But in carbon fiber.
Yeah, for sure.
But celebrate not to knock on it with their fucking knuckle.
So you know, it don't take a whole lot to light him on fire, really.
Yep.
When you say let's build something, you know, really bad, this break the bar, you know.
Yeah.
Because when I built that truck back there in 16, I was building in 15. It was kind of like when trucks. I mean, Phil, you can relate to this. Trucks was just starting to get like coming on hard, you know. And I kind of had this vision in my head. And this Greg Killen, I mean, he was like me. He's like passionate about trucks, and you know, I had these things like, you know, I wanted to do, and then we did it all on that truck, basically the front end, just the whole truck. This things I wanted to change, you know, and Greg in his defense, and he come up with the ZL1 as far as he was working in a body shop at the time, like a retail body shop. And he was working on ZL1 Camaro, you know. So he said, let's draft that hood onto that truck. And that's how the ZL1 truck come all about, was from the Camaro. And we'd run an LSA motor in it. But anyway, you know, it did good and everything's good. But then me and Zach, you know, we started talking about, you know, the next truck I wanted to build. And that's where we ended up with starting the carbon fiber shop, basically, right? I mean,
Yeah.
When the truck, we started talking about the truck, right or wrong?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did a fantastic fucking job. I mean, the truck's amazing. Every time I've talked to you in the last couple of years when that truck was out there, everything I said was fucking true. It's a fucking badass truck. Me and you both looked at it extensively at Indy, PRI. Yeah. The workmanship, the fit and finish, it can't go unnoticed. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Yeah. I still, even after this 3.5 hours, I don't get it. Like why what you saw in him, but hey, it fucking works.
Well, he didn't tell me about the cats,
Thanks, man.
He didn't tell me about the cats.
I love you too. I love you too.
But
if we're fucking 3 bottles in, you fucking drink 3 fucking bottles.
I know. It was it was hard to go to the bathroom. I'm pretty fucked up.
Are you guys producing the truck, the bodies now? Sell them as
Yes.
We're going to go
turnkey
ahead.
build, sell them as rollers. What's the plan?
The second truck's pretty much done, which is a customer's truck, and we're planning on getting that out there in the next 6 months or so. And then, is that funny or what?
No, it's not. It's not funny. It's the. To be honest with you, we have more truck build, but now it's it's more of a matter of selling the other chassis we have to replace them with the roadster truck.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. We can do a lot of things.
And I'm just being honest with you, that's literally the struggle right now.
So where can people start looking for these? Are we going to see you guys out at Good Guy shows? We're going to have some rollers out there. What's the plan?
That's the plan. Is to put a roller out there with the body. Oh, we're building the next series of trucks with steel chassis with steel cabs.
Okay.
Because the
steel cabs, carbon components.
Yes.
This is the truck that we're talking about. If anybody doesn't know, if anybody isn't living under a fucking rock, right? Yep. Or maybe name special ed, they don't know.
I know that truck.
Dude, this is the fucking truck.
Yes.
We did without that one.
And that was we obviously it was the pilot ship
of the build, right?
Sure.
And wanted to show what the shop was capable of doing.
Correct.
And Special Ed was capable of doing.
Correct.
But
And it's obviously capable of a lot.
You should have not came on it.
let me
sorry,
tell you a story real quick.
I'm blaming you. I'm fucked up.
It's not my fault.
I'm fucked up right now.
This is a good story though. So, we're balls to walls trying to get this truck done, get it ready for Detroit.
Yeah.
And Zach, he calls. He goes, "Man, is any of your guys?" Because I still got my body shops and stuff, back home in West Virginia. He goes, "You got anybody down there that's capable of helping us?" And I said, "Yeah." And he knows of Joe and Joe Farrell. He's a very talented body and paint guy. And I said, "Yeah, I'll send Joe up to help you." So I send Joe up, and this is really good, guys. Hang in there with me. But anyway, I send Joe up, and done body work and paint his whole life, and worked for me for many years. Good guy, still with me, and love him to death. But anyway, he gets up there and he works. He comes in there, he works with them guys for a day. He calls me at night. He goes, "Rod," he goes, "Are you seriously thinking that truck's gonna make it to Detroit?" I said, "Yeah, it's going to go to Detroit." He goes, "There ain't a fucking chance in hell that truck's going to Detroit."
There's no fucking paint on it.
No. And anyway, so I said, just pay attention to what them guys do, Joe, and hang with them if you can. So Ed's up there the first day. You there the first day, and he calls me at night. Okay. He rolls in the next day. Ed's still there sanding, 24 hours later. And so the next night he calls me back and he goes, "These guys are fucking animals."
Fuck yeah.
I have the world's shittiest superpower. I can stay up for a long time.
What's the go-to? Is it drink or a food?
Yeah, Mountain Dew. What do you?
Energy drinks, dude.
What? Mountain Dew or Monster?
Monster.
Yeah.
Listen, we were.
I know. I'm sorry.
I apologize. Yeah, fuck.
Anything to keep me up.
I won't judge you. I won't judge you.
We were sleeping on cots in our ovens at night.
Nobody goes for any natural and it's just like coffee.
No.
Coffee.
I like coffee, but when I'm trying to stay up for 30 or 40 hours, I just want like straight up race fuel.
You want the nuclear level shit.
Yeah.
You want the shit that was developed in a lab, not the shit that was grown on a mountain in Colombia. That's totally different. Fucking totally different.
You're looking for energy and a fucking mild heart attack.
So Joe's
gas station boner pills.
Fucking yellow jackets.
Yellow jackets.
So Joe's up there and he's like a week, and I'm like, "Man," Zach says, "Keep him up here if you can." And I said, "Why don't you step here and help him, guys?" He goes, and he's liking it, and he's starting to get where he's picking up on hours, staying 12, 14, 16 hours, whatever. And so he's up here, 3 weeks with you guys?
Yeah.
He goes, he's just on about how, this truck's not going to make it. And then when he got ready to leave, he goes, "Man, those guys will make it fucking happen." And I said, "You're right, they will." And we did make it for Detroit. A matter of bolting the hood on, we was loading it up that night. Just a typical hot rod story.
Yeah, everybody's been there.
People think that it ain't like that, but it is. It's right down to the last minute.
But I think it makes it that much fucking more worth it.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking worth
Sleep
it.
is
for
an
sure.
option.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we get up there, and we don't do the best in Detroit, but like you say, you got them old judges up there, and they don't appreciate the cutting edge stuff. And
we didn't no idea what's involved in.
No, we didn't be
carbon fiber truck.
No, we didn't build it for Riddler at all. We built it to do what it's going to do. It's going to go racing. And there's 2 or 3 highlights that's happened to me over this truck, and one of them is me and Kyle. I've considered Kyle a friend for a long time. Making a handshake down there when we dropped the parts off for the Daytona. Down there, that was 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah.
I told Kyle, "You want to drive that truck?" And Kyle said, "Hell yeah, I'll drive it." I'm like, "Shake my hand." He shook my hand, and we test and tuned, and he's going to drive the truck. That was a highlight in my life right there.
That's awesome.
And then probably the second biggest thing that happened to me in my life is when you know, and I'm old. I'm old as fuck. You know, I'm old enough.
I love that.
I'm waiting for you to get there.
I'm old enough to be all you guys' dad. You know.
I don't know about
What are you,
that.
60?
Yeah,
62?
A little older than that.
62, right?
No, 60.
64?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 years.
You ain't fucking my
like
daddy.
That's like
You ain't fucking my daddy at all.
That's a good thing, man. But you know, the second biggest thing that probably happened to me is when Mike and Jim come down and give us that cool as fuck award, and I'm like, I'm 64 years old and I get cold chills and want to like, you know, cry and shit like that. And I'm thinking, fuck this, you know, but these guys are, you know, I mean, you know, I'm older, but I still looked up to all those guys. And I'm not going to mention the one guy's name, you know, that they've been talking about all night, but I've always looked up to him.
Who's that?
Yeah. Honestly, everybody's getting a little sick of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard behind the snes, he's kind of a fucking asshole. I've heard a lot of shit about this guy.
Yeah. But
What comment?
No offense at all to the truck, but I think that award may have more man hours in it than the truck.
the Reds.
Oh God, that was the coolest
from,
fucking thing.
That Triple Crown.
That was
That's a sick award.
That award means more to me than probably
That's a
anything
cool award.
anything I've ever got, you know. And then
If they just gave their wheelchair, that would have been topped.
That's right.
and then going on and winning the Triple Crown, you know, Bobby Alloway, you know, I mean, me and Bobby's, you know, close to the same age, and I've always,
He can't see real well either.
that's what I like about him, man. He's like me. He can't remember and he can't see and all that shit. We all got the same problems, but you know, Bobby Alloway, I've always looked up to him my whole life, and for him to, you know, to win a Triple Crown shit, it was big. And then, you know, back to the Good Guys bunch, you know, I've always had a good relationship with the Good Guys. I've did like 8 road tours, the Hall of Fame tours. That's the one we was on. And that, you know, I met Kyle. I think that's where I met Kyle the first time. Well, I knew Kyle, but I really hung out with him and stuff, and met Kyle on that. And you know, they've been good to me, and I always chased that damn toolbox, you know. I mean, why? I mean, it's just a damn Snap-on toolbox, but
Yeah, you could buy one for way cheaper than you could build that truck.
Yeah, right.
It's the thing.
It's just, I wanted one of them, you know. So getting that truck of the year there meant a lot to me. But, you know, I mean, probably, you know, the Triple Crown, winning the first one there, and after winning the Magnificent Seven and getting beat with you guys, I mean, that was cool, you know. But those are the things that meant a lot to me throughout this year and throughout the truck, you know.
Sure.
Well, I think it's super
accolades.
important.
Yeah.
I think it's super important. We've talked a lot about the younger generation and the younger builders. I meant to mention this earlier. For all these younger builders that are coming up, that are trying, that are getting there, they're building badass fucking shit.
Respect your fucking elders.
They're trying. Yeah. The fuck you say? I think it's really important to understand that you gotta understand when they're roses and smell them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just know that they're roses and fucking
Yeah.
smell them. Take the time. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 2 days.
Well, I think
Right.
they said it. It was Wayne's World, right? Where he's like, live in the now, man.
Yeah.
Live in
It's
the now,
a good.
man.
I wish everybody could tell us instantly that these are the good old days. Remember the good old days, because right now this is when they are.
Yeah.
But I want to say that to the younger builders, but I also want to say, get to fucking Nashville for the Triple Crown.
Yeah, exactly.
We did it last year. I'm telling you right now, this year, it's going to be a fucking party.
That was definitely the best show.
We
of the
just
year.
started like we did a primer bulb pump for like 4 or 5 pumps and then like give it a couple cranks last year. This year it's fixing to be on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be a great show. And for the younger builders too, that's a place you need to be.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. If you
I
want
agree.
that opportunity to meet the old like has-beens,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you're gonna You're gonna have
That's
to
a
talk
good place.
talk slow to Bobby and make sure he sees your lips so he can read what you're saying.
Look him right in the eye.
Look him right in the eye.
Easy on Bob. He's all right.
Yeah, he's
You guys need
No,
to
but that's
lay down a little bit.
That really is a hell of a show.
it's a fucking amazing show.
Yeah, great show. I mean, that
Bobby and
Chevelle-
Gary do a great job.
Yeah, they
Chevelle
do.
that we built, that 70 Chevelle, that was a car that went like wildly unnoticed, and it was, in my opinion, it's the best car we've ever built, and that was the only show it ever got noticed at.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Because it was black.
Right.
Well, no, because you had people who knew it.
People that built cars that were that were
Right.
looking at cars.
Yeah.
It's we talked about this for I don't know. It's been like 16 hours on this podcast. Tonight
The only reason I come was to drink whiskey, and you guys 3 bottles
Hey,
are
yeah, we
done or
did
what?
all
we're gonna
I'm
get
fucked
we're gonna
up.
get to the we're gonna get to the
fourth.
we're gonna
If we're getting into the standard questions, we can crack something open.
if you guys are fucking ready. I was really excited about talking about the 3 bottle club because we've never been on a 3 bottle 3 quart club. If you want to get the 4, well, fucking why not?
I'm ready to open
Why
it
not?
up.
Let's
We
do
can
it. Let's
crack
do
the
it.
minis.
Let's do it.
Let's get it. Let's get after it.
I'm done.
Heaven's door, where we?
Let's get in. I don't give a fuck.
It
Done.
all tastes the same at this point.
Hey,
I'm done.
12, 14, 16 hours he's drinking Monster. I guarantee he ain't done.
I'm done.
You're gonna let everybody on. There's at least fucking half a there's probably 12 people watching, but you're not gonna let those 12 people watch right now. See you. Let's fucking.
No.
Might
I'll
as well
let them see
get you a
them-
nightcap.
Them all drink. I'm
Yeah,
done.
you're probably
it's a
a
nice-
smarter decision than us.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna tweak the standard questions because pretty much everybody you haven't.
them all already.
Pretty much you both have ruined the first car guesses for us.
Sorry.
So that's fine.
I want you to guess. Like I love the guesses.
All right. Well, we'll get there. We're gonna tweak.
What does Adam drive?
Are we talking currently?
Yeah.
Ooh, an Adam.
No, you got a daughter, right?
Yeah.
Do you got 1 kid or 2 kids? 1 kid. That's fucking. I'll go.
I think I've got one.
Wait,
I have no idea. Right now, I'm going with my gut.
That's the question.
It's Nissan Xterra. I have no idea why. That's what fucking hit me. It's Nissan Xterra. I'm just going with it. He doesn't have to say anything. You guys can guess.
right.
That's just what hit me.
we're talking.
He's a pitcher. He's a pitcher in baseball.
This
Man,
is
it's just
we're like
I can't pick
Elkhart, Indiana. Is it?
No. Lowell.
Sorry,
Lowell.
that's
Northwest Indiana.
Northwest Indiana, and you have 2 kids.
1.
1 kid. How old?
She is
7.
13.
How old?
15,
13.
13.
13. 1 kid. Married.
Yep.
That
Do
Nissan
you
Xterra
smoke
was
or vape?
Man, that would give shit away.
Subaru WRX. You
Holy
vape.
shit.
Yes. That's what
God
he
damn,
has.
you are a magician.
Really?
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh,
This is your time to shine.
I'm telling you,
I robbed you that last time.
that's you don't fucking come around here and play. This is legit, real deal.
Really?
I fucking robbed you the last time.
Well, I drive 45 miles to work, and it's 30. It gets 30 miles a gallon, and it's
Hey.
fun.
I'm telling you what. Is there? I don't know how we can monetize on this, but the chassis side is a side business. Good. We just need to. People make money on painting characters.
Yeah.
Why can't we just go like to the boardwalk and get paid to guess what people drive?
This is where
drive. It's like the guess your weight, guess
Dude,
your
I,
height.
feel, I feel like this is our calling. This is where we will realize like Bezos level wealth.
Yes. This is where we start flying private. We guess what people drive. Holy shit.
Yeah, nicely done.
Thank you.
Nicely fucking done.
I was feeling it.
We've already
beautiful.
We've already said that
First car.
you've already talked about you bought your Camaro. That was your first car. But I'm going to go the sports side of things. You're 100% a pitcher. Your fastest pitch was 94.
Close.
How much?
92.
92. All right. You like to knuckle though, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a car. That's a Sea-Doo.
Fucking Kenny Powers. Little fucking Kenny Powers.
So my car
You like to knuckle. I fucking
and what I own today is
tonight. It's on.
Today. What's the daily?
59 Bel Air.
That's the daily transportation.
That's what my car is.
4-door?
2-door.
All right, we're going Rod.
Rod, I think I've got him.
All right, what year
are we going?
What year?
No, current car.
What year did you turn 16?
Oh, you're going first car or current car?
It's a Model T. Has to be. That was
Y'all two. This is fixing to be fucking the Matrix. What year did you turn 16?
76.
76. All right. Was your first car before you turned 16?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll never get it. I promise.
Careful.
You'll never get it.
Careful on things.
Hey, I'm gonna give you a hint. Okay.
Hold on.
You want one hint?
All right. Let me ask a question, then you can give me the hint.
I'm good. Let's go.
Was that car something you purchased, or was it a gift from a family member or anything? Was it a gift?
I'm gonna give you a hint. Wasn't a car, but no, I purchased it.
76?
No.
All right. That's fine. All right. Everybody good. It wasn't a car.
horse and
I'm not.
buggy.
Come on, easy, guys.
Fucking shot. Phil's throwing fireballs over here.
Hey,
I've been good all evening.
foreign American.
Oh, what do you think?
That's a Honda
No,
dirt bike.
Who said that?
y'all fixing the fight.
That wasn't an insult. It wasn't a car. Honda dirt bike.
You've asked a number of questions. Enough. Shoot your shot.
You'll never get it.
What's a Harley U model? Was it 68, 69? Wasn't a Harley? I won't guess.
I mean, there's a truck. I mean, a truck.
Dude, I'm going current. Listen to me. I'm not. I'm blanking. I have no idea on the first car, but I'm going current car. I'm going current daily driver. And I think in my mind.
No, we're talking when I was 16. That's what we're talking.
I'm going current daily.
Oh, he's a Denali. He's driving a Denali right now.
I'm going CTSV.
No, I think here's what I think.
He's driving a Denali.
It's something. He's been in the car trade. You've had great success, but at the same time,
you think you
bought
a Cybertruck?
No,
Remember, I'm a farmer right now.
He knows value. He's a fucking blue collar guy. He's a hard working guy.
There we go.
And it's worth looking at, like 2012-ish. 2012, 2014, it's an extended cab, 2-wheel drive, forest green, 1500 Chevy Silverado.
You're close, but it's a 2014 Chevy extended cab, black 4-wheel drive truck. You're close.
This shit is close. I want everybody fucking listening to understand the fucking power.
You are good.
This is forget the podcast. Let's just do fucking driving guesses.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Best piece of advice you've ever received.
That is close, man. That's amazing.
Fucking nuts.
What's the first truck I ever drove?
First truck you ever drove?
Yeah.
76. I hope it wasn't a Scout.
I was going to go international.
I hope it's not a Scout.
No, the truck I drove to school. I remember I graduated in 78, born in 60.
But in West Virginia, you could get your license at 15?
We drove all the time we was 12 years old. We drove.
Well, fuck, that fucks everything up. A Willis Jeep.
I had a Willys Jeep, but the first what I drove to high school was a
Fucking the
58
Jedi power. It's just
58 Studebaker truck.
58. Never. You're right. You fucking
that
win.
does not fit.
Everybody made fun of me, and then when I watched Goldman and them come out with that gold truck, I was like, hell yeah. There we go.
Nobody said hell yeah when he brought it. I love fucking Talbot. I love fucking Talbot. But no, ain't nobody besides you said hell yeah.
You're probably right.
I love Talbot. And Mike and Sherry. All right, for the best. That's y'all are not nice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
It was a phenomenal swim move.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Okay, my grandfather, he had tons of advice, but I always remember the one thing he always told me. He said, son, the harder you work, the luckier you'll get. And I always remember that throughout my whole life.
Really good.
Yeah.
It sounds weird, but like my dad always used to, say that, don't. He was always into like, just working hard and the work ethic. And he just always used to tell me, work for what you want. And it sounds simple, but that's what it was,
That's fucking good.
Because let's hear everybody else.
Yeah, well, I was wondering, do you remember anything? Because like the ones I remember is like, you're a fucking moron, get the fuck out of bed. Or like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
Oh, he had those too, but like he's wholesome also.
Yeah, I've got a lot of those. I just
It's a lead by example type thing.
I want to remember, like, I respect the hell out of my dad. He's my idol, but I just can't put my finger on that one
Piece of advice.
Yeah.
Come on.
I had
Phil.
one, the one that always sticks to me. It kind of lived through Dad, but the standard Rocky quote: "It's not how hard you hit; it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward."
Yeah.
And I think that's just everything we've been through. It's you just keep taking it on the chin and moving forward. Then another recent one that I just heard: learn from the L's and appreciate the W's.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
That was that one kind of hit home a little bit.
For sure.
Always learn from what you didn't do, or learn from all your mistakes, get better, and then actually take the time to appreciate the wins that you have.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the one for me that always like resonates, and it actually comes from Bill O'Rourke, Zach, which is interesting, was just do something even if it's not right. Which is, don't just sit there and fucking look at it. Like, just fucking do something. Do something. You'll figure it out if you just do something.
Start
it might
getting
be
after
wrong,
it.
but get it fucking moving. You'll figure it out.
Okay, Josh, nail it.
No, I'm not gonna. We're not doing that.
Why is that?
That's we're saving that for one day. I'm not giving
Second best piece of advice you ever received.
Come on.
That's a good
Come
one.
on.
I'm not doing advice. I don't have.
If you don't have it, you could say that.
I don't have it.
Unless it's something great that you want to save for a special occasion.
Yeah, I don't have it.
We're not special enough, or what?
I don't.
Are you still waiting to
I'm
hear that
special
best
ed,
piece of
so-
advice?
Yeah, I still got a lot of life to live.
That's debatable.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of years is a lot.
You're gonna leave us hanging.
Come on, man. Let's do it.
A decent piece of advice you've heard.
Yeah.
I laid mine out. Let's
George,
do it.
George giving you something. I feel like George is giving you.
Don't wear white after Labor Day.
I mean, if you want to go to George stuff, that absolutely 100%, bar none, the best piece of advice. I don't give a shit about winning, but I hate losing.
I love that.
I hear you.
Fuck yeah.
I hear you.
That's
Hell yeah.
That was a killer podcast.
That's my, and I've heard that for fucking so long. And honestly, yeah, you're right. Bringing up George is the best way.
I think we're all competitive.
It means so much because it's like, I don't give a shit about what I win as long as I don't fucking lose.
No.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah, you're
I
right.
like
I appreciate it. That is the best piece of
I'm there
advice.
for you.
You are.
Yeah.
Favorite car movie and why?
Let's smoking about it. I graduated in 1978. I've owned probably 50 Trans Ams. Back in the day, I had Zrodz auto repair. I was 18 years old. Everybody brought the Camaros, the Trans Ams. Everybody threw for me, and it was real simple back then. I mean, it was easy. Throw the headers on, open the butterflies up in the carburetor, advance the time a little bit, and hell, them guys thought they was hot rods in.
Take your restrictor plate off.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite character in Smokey and the Bandit? Frog, Smokey, Snowman, or Jackie Gleason?
Jackie Gleason.
Oh, wow. He could string together a fucking sentence.
Is that what you like? Is
A
it?
wordsmith. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jackie Gleason was a.
That was definitely my all-time movie.
All right,
Hands
Ed,
down.
what do you got?
So I have two.
All right.
So what started me to loving cars is I'm saying this just so you can say this next is Cobra.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I love that Mercury.
You're the only fucking guest we've had.
Fuck the Mercury. Marion Cabretti.
that's exactly it.
Damn.
I walked around with a matchstick and tried to strike it on everything, and that guy. Ooh.
The Cobra sucks.
We were just at the Peterson Museum.
It doesn't. It does
And they
not.
had the
suck.
Cobra there.
The movie was
this
good.
asshole.
Do you think the Cobra was cool?
The idea of the Cobra was.
No, the movie. No, stop.
Stop.
You're not a
You were
Cobra.
way too old
idea of the
at that
Mercury
point.
was cool.
When you were like 10 years old and you watched that movie,
I didn't like it.
it was killer.
No, it's set too high. There was nothing. There was nothing cool about it.
I'm with
That
Josh.
car sucked.
I'm with Josh.
The car sucked.
I hate to.
But my second movie is Smokey and the Bandit.
I hate to agree.
It makes me feel good. Like it just, you watch that movie and it's just a good feeling.
So
The character was good, but the car sucked.
Here we go. Who wins in a fight? Marion Cabretti, John Milner, or what was
I think Marion Cabretti could
Burt
take all of
Reynolds'
them.
name and what was his character's name?
Oh, first of all, Burt Reynolds
Was he just
always
Burt
wins.
Reynolds? Was he
Yeah,
just
Burt
Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds.
Because I like the movie, but was he just Burt Reynolds?
Burt Reynolds always wins.
I disagree.
Burt Reynolds is gonna fucking beat Marion
Stallone.
Cabretti. Stallone?
Yes.
You haven't watched that movie lately. He has unlimited ammo. I mean,
Yeah.
like just constant ammo.
You see what he's a Will Smith.
Yeah.
First of all,
for sure.
you're not gonna catch fucking Burt.
You haven't seen Cobra lately.
Fucking Cobra is by himself. Marion Cabretti's by himself. He has no sidekick. Snowman's gonna fucking absolutely with
May
an
have a-
18-wheeler. With an 18-wheeler, you think a fucking 51 Merc is gonna go against an 18-wheeler and a fucking
Forget
TA?
about the Merc. He steps out of the Merc, dude, and he takes he's a one.
Yeah, he's too busy chewing on a fucking toothpick.
It's a matchstick. It's a fucking matchstick.
Yeah, that's honestly everybody that's listening right now thinks that's a little weird. Snowman,
There's no.
No,
evidence.
if Ellie,
Snowman destroys.
okay, granted,
Well, granted,
Hey,
you're
we're half-
correct
listen.
on that.
we're half a day into this podcast, but if Elia makes it to this point, I hope he puts up some images of Marion Cabretti, matchstick in his fucking mouth. The sunglasses. I wore those sunglasses. God, as a child, as an 8-year-old
Let me-
child,
let me
9-year-old
ask-
child.
Let me ask you
For
one
Burt
question.
Reynolds, Burt Reynolds, the mustache is
Let
legendary.
me ask you one question.
mustache.
Let me ask you one question, and I'll be done with
Go
this.
ahead.
Elliot can do everything he wants to with this particular
Sure.
at 3 hours and 46 minutes.
Yes.
Probably most models of whiskey
Okay.
and longest hour.
Yes.
you got a bigger bottle here too.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go with the matchstick Smith, or you're gonna go with the cocksmith, Burt Reynolds?
No, Marion Cabretti's probably Stallone's best character.
All right, this episode right now we'll have a absolute vote. Marion Cabretti. Sorry,
You can't even say it because you're not man enough.
Sylvester Stallone and Marion Cabretti from Cobra, or
Just say the word Cobra.
it's.
Say Cobra.
Dude, that's a snake that only lives in India. Who gives a fuck about Cobra?
Could kill everyone
That's
in
a-
this room right now.
No, fucking no.
Well, it's a Ford, right?
Well,
It's a-
Bird took it from Marion.
It's a
Cabretti.
It's a foreign ass Mustang. I mean, like
it's
snake.
not,
We
dude.
got fucking rattlesnakes and shit here.
Hey, have you,
First of all, Burt Reynolds.
have you ever Googled
versus
the
Stallone.
story of the
Burt
Shelby
Reynolds.
Cobra? It was inspired by
The Shelby
Marion-
Cobra isn't in. That's not in the movie. It's a jacked up ass fucking
They
Mercury.
named the snake after him.
You forget
All right.
about the fucking Mercury. Forget
So-
about Mercury.
Cobra versus what the other movie we were talking about. Yeah, Smokey and the Bandit. Stallone versus Reynolds. That's the question. Stallone versus
I don't know
Reynolds.
what Reynolds is Reynolds. But
Burt Reynolds.
That's
Yeah.
the most ridiculous.
Abbreviated.
No, that's honestly
fight.
that's probably the best question out of all this episode.
I'll put it up there. I'll predict
Reynolds versus
right now.
Stallone.
94% victory.
You're crazy.
For Stallone.
You're crazy. You're telling me that Stallone and Snowman couldn't take care of the fucking Russian faster than fucking Rocky could?
Wait, hold on.
Yeah. Rocky 4.
You lost.
Rocky 4.
I know Rocky 4.
If you take Stallone and the Snowman, Jerry Reed, right, and put them in the same, that should have been over in 30 fucking minutes. It wouldn't have taken fucking 3.5 hours long to defeat the Russian.
He defeated Stallone. Single-handedly defeated the Russian.
Yeah, 3.5 hours long. He had to go train and fucking lift weights and stuff like that. You put an 18-wheeler in a TA, it's fucking over. It's fucking over.
It's a goddamn 18-wheeler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Discussion closed.
Moving on.
It's been.
We'll put it up there for a poll.
Yeah.
Stallone
versus Reynolds.
Yes. Stallone versus Reynolds. Yeah.
Who do you think?
And that's going to be the lead-in into Stallone better do this podcast.
All right. Side note. Who do you think laid it down more?
Stallone. He's in a fucking porno. A motherfucking porno.
You're fucking crazy.
That's how he started
fucking
his
Burt Reynolds.
career. That's how he started his career. Pre-Rocky.
Bourbon.
Google it.
Burt Reynolds laid it down to everybody.
He wasn't Playboy or Playgirl, whatever.
Honestly, 80% of fucking California's population is related to Reynolds.
For sure. He laid it down. But
Stallone was a little more.
Stallone's more of a man.
Yeah.
More of a man. Can Burt Reynolds strike a match on every single surface?
Not now.
Yeah, I mean,
not currently.
Well, neither can Burt Reynolds. But
take here. Let's look at this. Take Rocky, Rambo, and Marion Cobretti.
No, Rambo. You can't take Rambo out.
No, just put them all together.
No, Rambo comes out.
How about throwing Mama from a train?
Put them all together. I'm trying to make a point here.
All
Is
right.
there another more alpha male in the history of the world?
No, Rambo's the most alpha male.
Beats.
I'll give you Rambo.
Beats Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Schwarzenegger. He's a foreigner.
JCVD.
Oh, it crushed. Yeah, JCV also.
No, fuck the splits. First of all, the splits is a little fucking.
it's questionable.
That's
It's very questionable.
yeah. Splits is hanging out with Zach in the fucking basement. Right? So
with the cats.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it only comes down to
Probably has gas.
Yeah, Jeremy's cats.
Jean-Claude is out. It only person that might be able to come in is a Hulk.
Lou Ferrigno?
Which Hulk?
The fucking Hulk. The only Hulk.
There's multiple Hulks.
The Hulk.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan.
Oh, okay.
Mr. T.
I'm telling you what, Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan ran around in his underwear.
We're all over the place now.
He fucking yeah. Burt Reynolds and Stallone is the ultimate matchup. We've arrived on it.
Okay.
You lay out the movies, lay out the matchups. I promise you, Stallone wins.
Stallone wins?
No, I'm
you're
sorry.
helping the
Reynolds.
cause.
Reynolds wins.
Stallone won. He outlived the motherfucker.
That's just when they were born.
I gave
Hey, let's put a poll up.
Put it up.
Stallone
Put the
versus
fucking poll
Reynolds.
up. Put the poll up. And what's the outcome? What happens when I win? When I reign victorious, what do you give me? What do I get? What do I get out of this?
You're going to be deciding that.
No, I'd love to be.
You will be.
He dies.
You think Stallone wins?
Yes.
100%.
I love Burt Reynolds. I love him. But
From his
come on.
fucking casket.
Yes.
From his casket, he destroys Stallone.
This is a lot coming from a Florida Georgia line person. I mean,
That's right.
Fuck.
Helping that.
Adam. Always an Adam. Always an Adam brings us. Thanks again for listening to Oil
And he's done.
and Ironclad Original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating, a review,
And leave a review.
a comment.
Or Stallone.
Yeah, let us know who.
Reynolds.
Go check out Fiber Forge, Zrodz,
Check him out.
all the things on Instagram, all the things on Facebook, all the things on YouTube. Check them out. Thanks again. We'll see you again next week.